Welcome to Fire Breathing Kittens, an actual play podcast. Every episode microplot is a complete adventure with a beginning and an end that fits into the overarching macro plot of the whole season. Because they stand sturdily on their own, you can listen to these adventures in any order and skip any that you don't enjoy. Today, we are using the combat mechanics from a game called Summer Camp Slayers, which utilizes the Tri-Cube Tales game system. It's our first time playing, so we might make some mistakes. If you enjoy these mechanics, you can find Summer Camp Slayers and Tri-Cube Tales on Drive-Thru RPG. Build your own Summer Camp Slayers character and play a game with friends. Speaking of friends, today we are joined by 3 of the Fire Breathing Kittens. Please give a short description of your characters, followed by your trait, concept, perks, and quirks. We'll start with Colette de Winter.
Hello, I'm Colette de Winter. I'm a young woman in her early 20s with long brown hair with a white streak in it. I am a nurse who is crafty, persuasive, perceptive, quick, and I've been told a bit of a show-off.
All right, and we're also joined by Sadie Duca.
Hey, I'm totally Sadie Duca. My character traits are agile. My concept is activity leader. My perk is a supernatural ability, which I will describe as a lightning bird summon, which has a ranged lightning attack. And my quirk is that I might be a little bit haunted. I have also leveled up, and I have a, I don't want to spoil it. I have a second perk, and I guess I should just say it. No, I won't say it. You have to listen to the episode. And I have a quirk of a really bad memory, and that decreases the social bond with friends who knew Sadie. Cough, cough, cough. Also, for no particular reason, the 10 words for today are high-sighted means ambitious, dost means due, indine means unworthy, gald my kib is when you scraped your heel, couch is to go to sleep, might not but is must, loun is a rascal, robustious is ranting, doit is a cheap coin, and indues means brings.
Wonderful. We'll see how many of those you can get out during today's session. And rounding out the group today is Marty Flame.
Hi, everybody. I'm Marty. I'm a lifeguard, if you couldn't tell. And my perks are that I am brawny and hot, which seems like they would go together because they do. And I do have a few, little bit of a show off and maybe a little distractible. We'll see how that goes.
We'll see if that comes up today. I'm sure it will. You all find yourselves in the Fire Breathing Kittens Guild Hall. The guild is a large building with a bar and a sitting area with wooden tables and chairs. There's also a wall with a corkboard where job flyers are to be posted. Going around the table, we'll start with Colette again. What is everybody doing this early afternoon in the Fire Breathing Kittens Guild Hall?
Colette is working on her nurse uniform. She is totally trained as a nurse, and this is not a disguise in any way. But she's mostly focused on her outfit, which is, if you know Colette, that's not unusual.
Very well. What about Sadie this afternoon?
Sadie has recently discovered potatoes and is trying them au gratin, mashed, and scallioned.
That's quite the assortment Sadie has this afternoon.
Eating calories like it doesn't matter.
That's what I like to hear. And rounding us out again, Marty Flame, what are you doing this afternoon?
Oh, me? Well, I found this table was a little wobbly here, so I'm just trying to fix it. I'm down underneath the table trying to prop up the wobbly leg on something. I got some folded up paper.
Very nice. Trying to wedge it in just the right angle, just the perfect density to get that table nice and flush.
I know. I was supposed to be doing something else, but it wobbled, and if you fold it once more, it's too much, but then this is not enough. I'll get it.
As you struggle with this table, a older-looking dwarven gentleman you all know to be Nuliseg, the leader of the guild hall, comes out from the back room, scratching his beard and perusing a job flyer. Anyone that's paying attention would see him stop just short of the corkboard, and after dragging over his usual chair, he uses the pin that he uses to pin up the flyers. He stops and turns to look over at the table you are sitting at, Colette. Nuliseg looks over to you, speculatively, before making his way over towards your table. You see, still stroking his chin, he stops at the table and says, Colette, Was about to post this job flyer on the board, but it's the darndest thing. It seems that this flyer is actually addressed to you specifically. Now, I'm not usually the one to hand these out to specific people, but if the client is asking for a specific kitten, who am I to judge?
Well, I can't imagine why they wouldn't ask for me by name. What's the job?
I haven't had a great deal of a chance to go over it myself, but from what I've read, it seems like there's some kind of disappearances at the nearby camp, and Camp Latham. And he hands you the sheet, and it's a fine piece of parchment that reads, Dear Fire-Breathing Kittens Guild, Camp Latham has recently had some disappearances of both several children, as well as some of the camp counselors. We fear the worst for those missing people and require someone with a penchant for stealth tactics, as we fear a more direct approach would cause suspicion amongst the campgoers who are already on edge. We have heard of the exploits of Colette de Winter, a member of your guild, specifically of her grand heist of the Duke and Duchess. We request Colette and a team of kittens to journey to the camp under the guise of staff and investigate the ongoing issues. Transportation has been provided to the guild, the keys have been left with the guild leader, and the vehicle is parked outside the hall. You see that the job flyer has not been signed, however.
Can you read like the first third of that again? Just the first third.
Yeah, absolutely. Dear Fire-Breathing Kittens Guild, Camp Latham has recently had some disappearances of both several children, as well as some of the camp counselors. We fear the worst and require somebody with a penchant for stealth tactics, as we fear a more direct approach would cause suspicion amongst the campgoers.
Mm. Okay, so they're keeping their camp open despite having disappeared. Got it. I just was... This is the subtle things that you... Okay.
It does mention that if Colette could gather a group of kittens and make their way to Camp Latham, that, again, the transportation would be provided. And he hands this flyer to you and goes, this isn't very often we get these, but nevertheless, it is addressed to you, Colette.
Well, missing children means we don't have any time to waste. Colette looks around. She sees Sadie. Says, you, young lady, would you like a job? You don't seem to be doing anything particularly urgent at the moment.
Colette, I keep telling you not to call me young lady. You have no... Yes, I am a young lady. Not a 718-year-old elf at all. But yeah, no. So, I put down the potatoes. I cover them with beeswax cloth and put them in the cellar. And I'm like, I'm ready to go.
Oh, that was easy.
Yeah, I would have just scarfed those down real quick.
She thinks about it and she says, well, she sees another kitten, a really buff one, and also hot, and says, and would you like to come with us? I think you'd be quite, you'd fit right in.
He looks down at himself, the muscular, 30-year-old appearing, but actually several millennia old person, and goes, yeah, I've seen television. I look like a teenager.
No. You would be a lifeguard.
Oh, okay.
Just like how I, thanks to my training, would be a nurse. And Sadie, what would you be?
Well, I've noticed that your kids, the kids nowadays, they don't have very many skills. So I think they need some training.
Counseling.
Activity leader. Yeah.
Activity leader. Perfect. Well, would you like to be part of this job?
Of course, Elon.
It starts now, if you're ready.
Gestures at potatoes put away.
So DM Colette will lead the two of them to the transportation.
Yeah, absolutely. As you're leaving, Nulaseg hands you the set of keys that he was provided as the flyer indicated. And as you make your way out of the guild hall, you see that parked in front, about a block away from the door of the hall, is a jet black four-wheeled vehicle with shiny metal accessories. There is a PT emblem on the back of the vehicle, and the name Dungeoneer is branded on it as well on the back.
Fancy.
Who's good at driving these things?
I suppose I can drive.
Yes, Marty, you should be more high-sighted. You know, for a being of your age, you could be ruling this town if you put your mind to it.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem. My mind's just not in it.
I'm sure you can at least drive the cart.
Oh yeah, it'll be fine. What's the worst that can happen?
What could go wrong?
To Marty, at least. He's immortal.
Yeah, we'll all
right.
hop in.
Yeah, everybody hops in the vehicle, and Marty, you hop in the passenger seat, and as you hop in, you notice that there's a number of dials and panels in front of you. It looks very similar to like your regular vehicle. It has a steering wheel, a couple of pedals, and a shifting knob on it. You see that there is as well, it seems like there's been installed a radio, as well as a large sliding back. It almost takes up the entire roof, a moon roof that you can slide open.
Wow, this is so much more high-tech than I thought.
Well, that's what you think, and then as you go to put the key into the engine, you see a meter that reads R, and then there's a hyphen, and it says Kane, K-A-N-E, arcane. It seems that it's some kind of fuel level, and as you go to turn the key, the lever reaches up towards the top to show you a full tank of arcane.
Perfect.
The engine purrs and it starts up, and if you're able to shift it into drive, it lurches forward and you begin moving at a decent pace. Colette, you do notice that there is a map provided with the flyer that shows just on the outskirts of Nicomoy, there is the Latham Woods. And in those Latham Woods, there is a small lake there, Lake Latham, and on that lake there is a camp. That is your destination for this afternoon.
All right. We have no other information about who posted the job.
Who's navigating?
Colette will navigate.
Perfect. All right, which way are we going?
All right. So
go ahead. I was just going to navigate.
I'm just going to go this way, and he floors it.
All right, easy.
Whee!
Yeah, we're having fun. We're just zooming on, what are we, 60, 70 miles an hour? How fast can this thing go?
Yeah, around that. You're going about 60, 70. You got the moon roof open, I'll say. Are you guys listening to tunes on the radio?
Absolutely.
She's not listening to Styx.
No,
if someone puts on Styx, she's turning it off.
We're not gonna take it. No, we're not gonna take it. That's that song.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Blowing your way down the road with the wind brushing in through the moon roof and the open windows. You guys are making pretty good pace towards the camp here. Listening to tunes as you go along, it doesn't take very long as you approach the campgrounds of Camp Latham. You see that the landscape begins to change. Lush greenery lines the roadside, and the air is filled with the sounds of nature. You hear birds chirping and small animals out the window as you zoom by, and the Dungeoneer cruises along the winding path, the tires crunching softly over the gravel as you draw nearer to the destination. Finally, though, you arrive at the entrance to Camp Latham. A weathered sign welcomes you with faded letters, and a gravel parking lot stretches out before you. You ease the Dungeoneer into a parking space, the engine purring contently as you bring it to a stop. The campgrounds sprawl out before you, a patchwork of cabins, tents, and open spaces nestled among the trees encircling a small lake in the center. The air is filled with the scent of pine, and in the distance, the sound of laughter and chatter from the campgoers enjoying their summer adventures. As you exit out of the Dungeoneer, you see a short woman, around 4 feet tall to be exact, wearing formal-looking clothes and a clipboard that she has slung from her neck. She waves over at the three of you with a smile.
I'm going to saunter over.
Yep.
As you saunter over to her, she greets you. Hello, I am Director Burrows. Judging by the look of you, you seem to be our new staff. How are you all doing this fine afternoon?
We're better now that you're here.
We're doing very good. I hope everything is going well. Everyone's accounted for.
Well,
nobody's hurt or anything.
That's actually, I would imagine why you're here. We required some more staff. And we've recently had our cook. We thought he might have taken an extended absence, but we haven't seen him around the camp as of late. It's been about 3 or 4 days since the cook has gone missing, And on top of that, we've actually had a few disappearances of children. We're rather worried. It's not unlike them to go trotting off into the woods on adventures for, a day or two and come back to be reprimanded. But the amount of children that we've had gone missing is alarming, to say the least. And on top of that, we've also recently had 1 or 2 counselors as well.
Maybe there's a speakeasy in the woods.
Well, they'd still come stumbling back after they had their fun, wouldn't they?
Depends on how good the speakeasy is. They could be out there for a while.
Why are you not closing the camp? Is it because of your pursuit of Doit?
Well, you see, I have recently come into an acquisition of some more funds for my position, but that has nothing to do with me keeping the camp doors open. It is for the children, you see. The children, they require some form of adventure, some form of light in their lives in the summer days. And we offer that to them. We offer that to their parents, a bit of a reprieve for a few months. And I don't see it right to close the doors, even if we are having a few small issues.
I would say missing children is a little bit more than small, but it's your camp, not mine. Maybe we should, do we have any clues, any history to this lake or camp that
maybe
might
the
provide
employment
intel?
records?
Oh,
Maybe the employment records of, the files of the people who are missing? Maybe we could find some similarities.
You know what? I'm going to call for a check on this one. Marty, go ahead and give me, as you ask about the records, give me, I'll say it's a crafty 5 check. So essentially what this means is if you're crafty, you're going to roll an extra d6 dice. I believe you got the brawny trait. So you would only end up rolling 2d6 for this unless you can use your perk as an advantage.
Well, what am I actually trying to accomplish here?
So that, I guess, would be a question for you. You've asked the director to take a look at the camp files. So if you're trying to get her to show you the files, is what I would assume the goal of this would be. It would require some form of persuasion.
Okay, that's what I was getting at. I wasn't aware that she might not have, that she might have some reservations about doing this.
She does seem reserved, yes.
So we're trying to overcome someone's reservations to show us the files for the missing people. This is why I love the perk of being hot. It applies to a lot of things in life. Pretty privilege is a thing. So I think he's just gonna tilt his head down a little bit, look up through the eyelashes, give her a winning smile and say, "Pretty please. Don't you want to show those files to us?" And then inhale. Really puff out the chest.
You see the smallest bead of sweat start to form on her neck as she tussles with her shirt. Go ahead and roll me. The way this works is it'll still be 2d6. You don't actually add a die, but I believe I said it was a DC 5. I'm going to reduce it to a DC 4. So still roll 2d6, the difficulty being a 4.
I got a 4 and a 6.
4 and a 6. Perfect. She goes, "Oh my, you know what, I suppose, you are new, but I suppose if you'd like to peruse some of the files, I could give you a few moments during the orientation to take a look at the files, yes. I keep them at my personal cabin, so when we reach that part of the orientation, I'd be more than happy to allow you to peruse them for a few moments."
Well, that sounds fine to me. Just
I forgot to ask you your name. What's your name, sir?
Marty Flame. Nice to meet you, ma'am.
Oh, well, you know what? My name's Angela. If I do mind me saying, we are missing a lifeguard, and I think you would fit in just well with Mr. Oliver we have here on site. I'll show you him during the orientation. He works down at the lake as well. I'm sure the two of you will hit it off and be great friends. Nevertheless, the rest of you, I forgot to actually ask, what would you be doing for us this summer?
Well, the kids are, she kind of remembers that she's still dressed as a nurse. She says, well, I have very extensive training as a nurse, so I would assume, just like any camp, you require that as somebody working as a nurse, so I'd love to step in.
Oh, very well. We could absolutely use the assistance of a nurse. Scrapes and bruises, kids having injuries inside of the lake. You know, it's a common occurrence here at Camp Latham. But I forgot to ask you your name as well. Sorry, what is your name?
Colette.
Colette. Sounds familiar, but you know, I can't really put a face to the name at this moment. Welcome, Colette, to Camp Latham, and you, young lady, I forgot to ask your name. And what would you be doing for us this summer?
The white-haired elf, who looks like an 18-year-old girl, wide ears, flat like the horizon, says, I find that your children, I'm Sadie, by the way, I find that your children are woefully unprepared in the methods of beer and cheese making, so I will be instructing them in that.
Oh, I must say we have not had anybody interested in brewing for quite some time. We have some dwarven children who grew up with around brewing and ale, and I'm sure they would love it if you would show them around some brewing and perhaps some local cheeses as well.
Excellent. Do you have milk and grains?
We have a small supply, yes. You know, after the chef left, we haven't actually found much of a use for the raw materials. We've mostly been making do with warming up the leftovers, if you would, in the interim. So, absolutely, if you'd like to have at our storeroom, feel free to make us up some delightful ale as well as some cheese.
I was really expecting for them to say no with the beer with the children, so now I have to...
They're making it. They're not drinking it.
It's true.
It's such a gray area because dwarves, it's part of their culture, at least in most writing. All right, so she goes, nevertheless, I should probably give you a short orientation, show you around the camp, and get you settled in here. If you'd like, you can follow me, and we can start our orientation. I would actually like to start by going over towards the lake area. It's one of our higher maintained areas, one where we try to keep as much staff in the vicinity as possible, being as the dangers of the water. If you'd like, I can go and show you around.
That would be perfect.
She takes you guys are in a small parking area, and just to the north of you, you see it kind of drops down a little bit, and there is a dock that goes out onto very circular looking lake. The campground kind of stretches on the south side of this lake, about halfway up the lake around kind of in a semicircle. There are 5 cabins in total making up the campgrounds. You see there's 2 or 3 larger ones and 2 smaller. But then you also see on the other side of the lake another smaller cabin, looks like completely separate from the camp, like it's on the opposite side of the lake, kind of nestled in the trees on the other side. She takes you from the parking area into the big open area kind of towards the center and up towards the dock area. And you see sitting on a large chair that raises up about 6 feet above the dock with a small ladder, you see a dark-skinned young adult wearing red shorts with a white brim along the bottom. He looks out at the water, laid back, kind of almost calmly in his chair, slouching a little bit as he leans on one hand and just kind of takes in the lake as there's several children playing, including a few on like a floating platform in the middle of the lake. The director brings you and goes, "This is Oliver. He is our other lifeguard. We've only been keeping a partial shift here down at the lake. We haven't been able to keep it open all day as we're not able to keep Oliver on staff at all times. But Marty, now that you're around, perhaps we can keep the lake open all day."
Absolutely. I'll do my best.
And she goes, "The lake here has been around for quite some time. It actually used to be a dry bed that filled with a natural spring about 100 or so years ago. And we built the camp around it, and there is an old man who's taken a small section of land on the other side of the lake, so we haven't been able to purchase the entire ring around, but we're working our way up to that. We're hoping to expand in the near future." And as she's talking, you hear the whistle go off, and as you look up, you see that Oliver is now kind of risen up a little bit. His slouchy posture has more kind of risen into a very focused view out at the water, and you hear a large splash as one of the kids falls from the floating platform into the water, and he does not come back up.
Oh.
But the whistle blew before the kid fell into the water?
He was watching this, like there was some horseplay happening on the platform, and you see him looking at it, and as you look over, you hear the splash. He's blowing the whistle to notify it, and you can see him getting ready to come down the steps of his platform.
And I can see this whole situation. I can see the kid that just where he just went under, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I am going to use one of my magical abilities, and I am going to just cast a hand out over the water and cause a small wave to pop the kid right back up onto the platform.
Okay. I will make you do another roll for this. So I will say that this is a crafty 4 roll. So the way that this works is all spells are, when you're using them, are crafty. It's a mental, kind of the catch-all for like mental, spell casting, persuasion, intimidation, things like that. So when you're casting a spell, I'll say it's a DC, you know what, I'll say it's only going to be a DC 4. It's very easy because you're just shaping the water. It's something that you do all the time, but I will make you roll for it. DC 4, you can roll 2d6, but I'll allow you, if you want, to use 1 karma to reduce it to a DC 3 if you'd like, but it's currently set at DC 4.
Okay. And it's still like, it does, like the perk of being a magic user specifically does not add to that. It's still...
Oh, you know what? You're correct. Yes, sorry, it would be 3d6. So it would be 3d6 at DC 4, and you can still use a karma if you'd like.
Perfect. I think with 3 dice, I should be fine. All right, I got a 1, 5, and 1.
Okay. So with your 5, you are successful in casting this handout. You're able to grab the kid, and you see at this point Oliver has like just dove into the water, and as his head comes back up, as you're pulling the kid back up onto the activity platform, he stops and looks back at you and goes, "Oh, that was a close one. Is that you?" And he points at you, Marty.
Just lucky, I guess.
So he comes out of the water, and he grabs his towel off the platform and he puts it over his shoulders and goes, That's a nifty trick. How long have you been able to do that?
5,000 years, give or take.
You see, he takes it almost as a joke. He laughs and goes, "And you're funny too. Look, you're not the new lifeguard, are you?"
You know, I think that ability might be why they put me in that role.
Hey, if you're born to do something, you're born to do something. Look, I'm only out here to try to help people personally. I'm trying to figure out what's in store for me myself. But look, it's going to be a lot easier with you around. I'll tell you that for nothing. These kids, they keep my hands full.
Well, hey, I get it. I mean, a guy like you got a lot of options out there. It's going to take time to sort through that.
Well, it's going to take time, but I'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah.
Hey,
well, I'm happy to help.
If you guys are around later, you and your 2 friends there, we're having a campfire out by the counselor's hut. It's going to be right after dinner, so if you guys are around in a couple hours, just stop by the fire. We'll tell some horror stories, maybe have a couple drinks, and see where the night takes us, and try to bond a little bit. There's been a lot going on here at camp over the last few weeks, and we're all trying to blow off a little bit of steam.
Hey, wouldn't miss it. By the way, do you think I'll fit in your shorts?
I'm a size medium, but you know what? Get a couple drinks into me, and we'll see if they move up to a size large.
Well, I'm honored, but they didn't give me a uniform yet.
Well, make your way down to the counselor's cabin, and I think they're gonna do just that. And you actually see the director butt in and goes, Now, that is exactly where we are heading next. A little bit of a detour here at the lake, but we are headed to the counselor huts after this." And she goes, "If anybody else would like to have anything else to say to Oliver, otherwise we are going to be headed out. We really don't have time for this. You see, it's getting late in the afternoon. We have to get dinner ready. The kids are going to be eating soon."
Sorry, Oliver.
I have a question for Oliver.
Yeah.
As the person who spends the most time facing the opposite side of the lake, what can you tell me about the old man who lives there? Is he one of those robustiest old men, always screaming, "Get off my lawn, kids," shaking his fist?
The old man across the lake, I haven't had too many run-ins with him, but from what I hear from the other counselors that have, he seems like a nice enough old man. A little bit out there, a little bit crazy. He's got some weird stories about the lake, personally. I've never had a chance to talk to him, but everybody calls him Old Man Jeffries. I don't know what his actual name is, but he's been here longer than I have, so who am I to ask?
Thank you.
Now then, I've heard that you would like to get your lifeguard uniform. Sadie, I'm sure you'd like to get your uniform as well, but I see Colette, you've actually provided your own. It's I must say, it's one of the nicest nurse uniforms I have ever seen. The ones we supply are not that nice.
Well, even the kids at camp deserve a little bit of fashion when they're getting their medical needs treated. She laughs a little bit.
The kids will be, I'm sure, very happy to see a happy face in the nurse booth. One that doesn't have boils and canker sores. As the last one that we had, the last nurse, well, she wasn't necessarily a looker.
Well, that's one thing I certainly am.
Hopefully you have a thick skin. The children around here, even if you don't feel like you have any insecurities, they find them.
Oh, they can't be that bad.
I love kids, so I'm sure we'll all get along famously.
You guys are saying this kind of, I'm imagining in passing as she's walking back. The camp counselor's hut isn't very far. It's about like a 40-50 foot jaunt from kind of where you guys are now. Like it's like the next camp or like cabin from the lake here. So as you guys are kind of approaching up to the counselor hut, she goes, "There's nobody around now. All the counselors are out on shifts as it's the afternoon, but if you'd like, you can go in. We've had some sleeping arrangements set up for you. Your uniforms are left on the bed, and when you're done getting changed, I'll wait outside here. Please feel free to come back out, and I will show you to the dining hall, to where the kids' cabins are, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask any."
Yeah, can you describe what like we enter the building and like what does it look like?
Yeah. So the outside of the building is made out of like the thick wood beams and like natural carved wood, essentially. So there's a lot of like, you get those kind of hooks and curves in the wood where you can almost see through the paneling. The windows and everything, like it's a very put together cabin. There is a tin roof on the top, a shaped tin roof. And as you enter in, you see that there's high vaulted ceilings with a number of bunk beds set on either side of the room. There's chests for personal belongings at the base, at the head of each of the bunk beds. And otherwise, it's a fairly empty room. You've got some couches and chairs, and a small like washroom area to get kind of ready in the morning. But otherwise, it's just basically your basic sleeping area where you can keep your clothes and personal belongings throughout the day.
All right, perfect. And our uniforms are there on the bed. I assume mine is the red shorts we saw before. What does Colette's look like? Or sorry, not Colette, Sadie's.
Yeah, absolutely. So you see your red and white shorts laid out on the bed, as well as a small whistle on a chain. And Sadie, you see that there are a set of like brown pants, a formal attire shirt with a sash that goes over the top with looks like sections to put like patches and things like that. And you also have like a small pocket for keeping pens and various things inside of. But otherwise, you can accessorize it however you'd like. It's kind of like tan and like browns is their uniform stylization.
Righto. She puts it on.
She sounds so excited about it. Come on, girl, give us a fashion walk. Let's see.
Okay, she looks awkward in pants.
So
I'm assuming Colette looks the uniform the standard nurse uniform is actually just scrubs or something close to it.
You've made your own uniform. There is one laid out for you. You see, it's just like your basic kind of like whitish, like kind of lab coat ish, with just basic pants essentially. But if you've made your own, by all means, what does Colette's nurse outfit look like?
It looks like a little bit more like what you might think a nurse in the 60s would wear, but like Really high quality material. A little too short, but not too much. And with the old school nursing cap, like Nurse Ratched from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but looking way nicer. Not that Louise Fletcher didn't look good, but this is Colette we're talking about.
It sounds like you're going to get some attention too.
She is a show off. That's why she's not switching out outfits, though. That's probably the better idea.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to roll the waistband on mine a little bit. Just hike up that bottom hem, show some thigh.
They are like just below the knee shorts, so you're able to hike them up a little bit. It just won't do.
I'll do my best. We'll get these as close to a proper 3-inch inseam as we can.
Yeah, you guys get ready here. You see there's a number of other bunk beds in here, and as you're getting ready, you hear the door creak open from behind you. You see entering into the room is a well-dressed man. He actually looks similar to Sadie in that he has elven ears, but nowhere near as long. They are only about 2 inches or so, and they don't go straight back. They're more kind of up on an angle. And you see he's got a very sullen look on his face, and as he enters in, he's almost surprised to see you all here. Like, what are you guys doing in this room?
I'm half changed.
Oh, my. The lady, she does. Oh, my. Sorry about that.
I threw a pillow at you. Get out.
Oh, my. You see, he gets out of the room. Please, tell me when you are done, and I will come back in. I'm sorry if I've shamed the lady.
He sounds like he's from your region.
Okay, I finished changing.
Do you tell him that?
You can come in now, Colette says.
You see, he comes back in. He goes, my apologies. My name is Artemis. Artemis Copperpenny. It's nice to meet you. Some new faces around the camp. I've never met any of you before, I don't believe, but I am the head counselor here. I run things around here. If you'd like, you can just call me Copperpenny. Most of the people around here do. I've got quite the high respect with the rest of the counselors, I'll have you know. But I'm sorry I barged in. I'm just coming to retrieve a few of my personal belongings before returning back to my shift.
Colette, I'll let you take this one. Go and pump him for some information.
Artemis, this is Artemis. I hear there's some weird things, some odd things going on around Camp Latham. Could you tell me a little bit more about it, or is it just all just silly rumors?
No, actually. There's been several disappearances around the camp. It's quite concerning to me, but the director doesn't seem to share my concerns. I've brought it up personally once or twice, but she doesn't seem to be as concerned about it as she should. Nevertheless, there's been several children that have gone missing, as well as a few counselors. It started happening about 2 to 3 weeks ago, though. It hasn't been a common occurrence. We do have the odd kid or counselor run off for their various reasons, but nevertheless not like this.
Why have you stayed here when you might not but protect your safety? Are you not worried about your own personal survival?
I do care about my personal survival, but the survival of the children and, well, not even necessarily the survival, but the fact that they continue to have a good summer, that they can experience these memories together, it's very important. I myself grew up at a summer camp similar to this, and I have strong attachments to places like these. I want to see these children prosper, and I fear that if the doors are closed, they will be idly running around at home. With nothing more to do but keep themselves busy with their own thoughts.
Did anything unusual happen before the children started disappearing?
No, actually. The camp only started about a month and a half ago for the season, and we are under new management. But otherwise, there has been no real massive changes here at the camp otherwise.
I see. And this new director, what's her name?
The director is Angela, but the new management, it's been bought up by a tech company. local to the area. The name is Placitech.
I see. And DM, so would research fall under craftiness?
Yeah, like
asking for
research,
later.
intuition, like insight, stuff
Yep.
like that. Yep.
I see. Well, thank you, Copperpenny. I will definitely keep an eye out for anything unusual. We definitely don't want any more people wandering off. There's no speakeasies that you know of anywhere nearby, right?
Speakeasies in the forest. No, and we're fairly isolated out here. I don't believe if there was a speakeasy, I'm sure old Artemis Copperpenny would be the first to know of it.
Oh, like a good drink? When you're on off hours?
Not so much that I enjoy a good drink, more that people enjoy my company.
Oh, I'm the same way, Colette says.
Well, if you don't have any more questions for old Artemis here, I should probably return to my shift, but perhaps I will see you around. There's some dinner tonight, and then I believe all the counselors will be hitting the hay early for the night. We have a busy day ahead of us tomorrow.
Do we feel like we know everything he does now? Colette, you have to take a deep breath when you ask him questions.
I don't, the key to being good at this is knowing when you need to put it on and when you need to back it off a little bit.
Ooh, it sounds like we're going to have a competition.
No competition. But I would like to know more about this Placitech type thing. Perhaps we can do some research. DM, could I do a craft roll?
Yeah,
to check
absolutely. Give me
the
I'll
internet?
say DC 6. It'll be pretty hard because you don't have a ton of
okay.
pieces. DC 6 crafty roll.
Okay. Now, please, actually, this might be a good time to ask about the karma and result. Karma? I'm trying to remember how karma works.
Yep. So you can, if you have a perk that you think would make the roll easier, like something that you think that your character is good at that would aid in the situation, you can reduce the difficulty by 1 by spending any of your available karma. You can also make it harder by using your quirk, and you would gain a karma back. If you succeed the check, you can also choose to gain a resolve.
Okay, so I will spend one of my 4 karma and use it because Colette is crafty. I'll spend one of my 4 karma to lower the difficulty to 5. If that's okay.
Yes, but it would be just for clarification. So your crafty is how many dice you'd roll. It would actually be your perk that would affect it, which I would say because you're like a perceptive person, that's one of your perks is perceptive. I would say that you could more lean on that to kind of use your karma.
Fair enough.
But yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I would be rolling 2 dice or 3?
2 dice, and I'll say it's a DC 5 now.
Okay. 4 and a 6?
4 and a 6. Okay, so with this 6, this Placitech, you don't know like exactly what the company is, but you would probably put together that the technology that was in the vehicle that you guys drove here would be very similar. Like you've heard of Placitech before and what kind of technology they develop, and the vehicle that you brought here, now that you're thinking about it, the PT on the back, Placitech, I'll say that you're able to piece that together with that crafty check. So the vehicle that you brought here, 100% Placitech. What else they make, you're not really positive about. You haven't heard specifically what this company is.
Interesting. We have a technology company buying a summer camp, and the very next month, people start disappearing. Could be a coincidence.
Do you want to tell us more about that possible coincidence?
I don't know. I think we're going to have to go pound the pavement and talk to some folks, get some more information. We can't just rely on young Mr. Copperpenny here.
I don't know. He seems awful reliable.
Sure, but we could always use more info. Colette will be ready to go.
Yeah.
Unless somebody else wants to do something else. Something in the cabin.
Nope.
All right. You guys exit out of the cabin to see the director standing there with her arms crossed. It sure does take you quite a while to get dressed. Lifeguard's just a pair of shorts, but hopefully you're well acquainted now, nevertheless. Next, I would say we should probably go and introduce you to the kids. What do you say?
Let's go.
All
Love to meet the kids.
You guys head over to the opposite side of the lake here. Like, you guys are on the right side right now. You kind of go back past the lifeguard over towards the kids' cabin, and you see a lot of activity here. Kids running in and out of the front door here. It's a very similar cabin to the camp counselor's cabin, except that it's about 4 times the size. Much larger to house more children. And the doors are like these double doors that are just kept open throughout the day. And like I said, you see these kids running at Mach 10 speeds in and out. They're going in empty-handed. They're coming out with shovels. One of the kids pushing the other kids around. Like, it's absolute chaos over here. And the director pulls you up and goes, "This is where the kids stay. They are free to roam throughout the day. We have a number of activities that we run here at the camp. We have tennis, fishing. There's some sports in the waters. There's also some like actual craft work, like working with woods and metals and things like that. We have a small craft area here on site. But if you'd like, I can introduce you to a few of the children here. We have a few drop-offs coming today, and as she says that, like on the bell, you hear from behind you, "Oh my God, is that Sadie Duca?"
Uh-oh. Technically, yes.
You turn around. You see a woman very similar to like stature and like kind of racial features as you. She is apparently a Macrodus elf. She has long ears, and she is very similar in age to you. She wears this more royal, regal fitting attire, but you see she has gripped around the wrist about what looks to be like a 13 to 14-year-old in human years, what seems to be like a younger sibling or like a cousin or something like that, and she's dragging her over towards the campgrounds, and she goes, "Sadie Duca, I have not seen you in forever. What are you doing here?"
Oh, I'm a stand-in camp counselor. I'm going to teach the kids how to make cheese and beer. What are you doing here?
Well, I am dropping off my little cousin here. And she goes, "Marcy, say hi to Sadie." And you see she pulls her younger cousin up, and this more kind of short stack elf looks up to you and goes, "Hi, Sadie, I'm Marcy."
Hi, Marcy. Do you like your cousin or do you dislike her? I just must know.
She looks up at her, and you see she looks back at you. She looks back up at her cousin and looks back at you and goes, "She's okay." And the lady goes, Now, be nice. Sadie, the last I heard from you, I think, well, it was actually when they announced that you and Hudson were getting together. How are the two of you doing?"
Hudson. Yeah. I'm like, I don't really know who that is. I'm just like, yeah, him. We're doing great.
I scooch on over to her and say, "Oh, Hudson? She can do so much better." And I place my arm around her shoulders.
Well, so that sounds right to me. I agree. Yeah, that's right. I would love to introduce you. This is Marty.
Charmed.
You see, as Marty does that, she has her hand on her chest, and she's doing that like leaning forward thing. Like she's like, "Oh my God." And she goes, "Oh my God. Does Hudson know about this? Oh, hi, I'm Portia. Nice to meet you." She goes, "Portia.
Nice to meet you too.
Portia Minimon. Very nice to meet you."
I'll have to remember that name. Yes, he absolutely knows. He could not... he didn't have what it takes to maintain a woman of this caliber.
I look a little confused, and I'm just like, that's right. He was in Dine. What can I say? And one time he was following me and galled my kib. Yep. Our business together was not profitable. She just like takes an incorrect guess at what their relationship was. And that is why now I am in business with the fire-breathing kittens. Also, Colette is here. I'm with them both, you see. And Portia, who is talking about her fiance, is very probably confused. But I bring Colette into the hug too. And I'm like, Colette and Marty are mine now.
She's a lot of woman, you see. I'm sure you know. You've known her forever. Yes. And he turns to Sadie to whisper in her ear, I'm trying to help you save face here. Come on, go with it.
Our business is so profitable. We are stand-in camp counselors. We're occasional... can't talk about that. That's illegal. We do lots of activities.
So many activities. It's
Lots of activities.
Profits. So many profits. And he winks at her.
Portia, how do I know you? I mean, what do you do?
You see, like, it takes her like 10 seconds to collect herself. Like, her jaw, she has to grab her jaw off the floor and wrench it back up because it's that far down. She goes, Sadie, you know what? It has been quite some time since we've seen each other, and you've changed a lot. And I think I love this new version of you. Whatever you've done, please keep doing it. It's great. I love this for you. But yes, we know each other. I'm sure you're aware of that. The two of us were very interested in Hudson at the same time, and it's very interesting to me that you seem to have moved on so quickly. I might just have to have a conversation with the Steinhauser family when I return back to the estates.
Oh, Sadie. She's like, gosh, how would she even react? I think she might catch on that, like, perhaps this person wasn't her business partner. And she just like, Steinhauser, right, Hudson Steinhauser. I really do appreciate you letting me in on that, like his name. She's like, but I wouldn't jump to conclusions. Sometimes things have a way of working out.
Maybe someday they'll work out for you as well as they have for Sadie.
With the way things are going, you know what? I think everything's turning up Portia today. So why don't I just leave my younger cousin Marcy here with you? You can take care of her, and I'm sure we'll talk very soon, Sadie, very soon.
And then she's off to steal my fiance because I don't know about him. So that's great.
Oh, I thought you broke up. I was trying to help you cover.
No, I forgot he existed because I'm not Sadie.
Oh, oops.
That's okay.
Wheel.
He should have reminded me.
Does Colette? Maybe this will require a roll, or maybe not. Would she be able to notice Sadie acting extremely strange, like forgetting who she was once engaged to?
I'm not going to say that's a roll. I'm actually going to ask
Okay.
Sadie, what do you look like? What are you portraying in these moments? What would you say your character's portraying? What kind of emotion, I suppose, or?
Honestly, it's just the question is, did Colette meet me as Sadie? Do you remember what adventures we were into? Let me do a quick check.
Sadie and Colette weren't in an adventure.
Yeah, so no, you just think this is who I am.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I didn't know if we knew each other, if they know each other like outside adventures, like just hanging out in the guild hall from before.
That's up to you. Yeah.
To make things interesting, let's say she did know Sadie. So she might notice this change in this change in personality and memory.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
no roll, or she just.
I'm not
going to
make you roll for that if that's because
Okay.
it's more of a backstory thing, like history like that. I don't
Fair
like to
enough.
make you roll for it because if
That
it's
makes
something you
sense,
feel
yeah.
is right for your character, then it's right for your character. So yeah, absolutely. I'll say that you knew Sadie at least well enough to know that this is not par for the Sadie.
Do you know who Hudson is?
No,
He could have like stopped by the guild anyway. But yeah, so
I don't think so.
all right. What do you do with that information?
Colette's doing what she normally does when she finds a new piece of information. She saves it for later when it'll be really convenient, but says nothing.
Perfect.
She is crafty after all.
Portia gives you one of those, like, she flips her hair back as she's leaving and looks back over you at her shoulder, and she gives you like a little kiss and she, like, very sure of herself, just waltzes out of the campground. But you are left with her little cousin, who looks up at you and goes, I'm glad that she's gone. She's mean.
Yeah, that didn't go as well as I'd hoped.
Do you want to make beer?
Would you really teach me?
Of course. I mean, you might like cheese better, probably. Do you like cheese?
I'm lactose intolerant, but sure.
Is Portia lactose intolerant? Will she eat cheese?
Yeah, absolutely. The second that she has cheese, she just blows right up.
Oh, we should teach you how to make cheese.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love that.
Sadie, I feel whatever you teach this child, I'll end up seeing somebody because of it.
I forget the setting we were in. Like, it's a lot of kids. Oh, we're not. Okay, so we're outside their bunks and stuff, and we're with the director.
Yes,
and
the
we're on, like, a
director
tour.
kind of overheard this.
All right. Should I split off and go to the kitchens, or should I just continue on the tour? I'll just be like, come with us, Marcy.
Yeah, bring the kid along. Why not?
You know, I was actually just about to take you down to the dining hall. I figured I could show you the stage on our way down. We pass right by it, and after that, it's about dinner time anyways. You see the director says
I love
to you,
food.
Well, the food isn't as good ever since Barnacus Bradshaw left. He was our resident chef. He's been gone for a few days, and Barnacus always knew how to cook up a lively meal. Ever since then, we've been doing as best we can with dried pasta and the likes, making simple meals. But hopefully you still enjoy it, nevertheless.
Where did this Barnacus go to?
You know what? He was actually missing from his cabin. He stays with the rest of the counselors, and the one morning they woke up and he was gone. I have to be honest, the rest of the counselors and some of the kids weren't the nicest to old Barnacus, and they tended to, well, rub him the wrong way. So I wouldn't put it past it that Barnacus may have just snapped and finally found something where he was a little more respected. The children around here, they can be quite the pests.
Well, we will have to make the best of what we have. Sometimes it's less about what you're eating and more about who you're eating it with.
Meanwhile, I have like 4 suspects. Dude across the lake seems okay by the lifeguard. Missing chef suddenly now also has a motive. And then are the children being experimented on by Placitech. So many different possibilities. We'll just have to keep going.
Oh, are you thinking this is like a Soylent Green kind of thing?
Oh, gosh, no. I was thinking that they were like, well,
Being
I mean,
turned
now,
into cars?
God, well, oh, gosh. I thought they were like focus testing their technologies, like when you give a toy to kids to see if it'll sell well. Oh, boy. All right. Anyway,
Honey, we're old. We've seen things.
Oh, this was all out of character. So let's go. Yeah, let's keep going. More people.
The director shows you in passing a old theatrical stage, and she makes mention that that this year the students are putting on a play, as they do every year, and that the stage is where they practice. She actually mentions to you, Sadie, she goes, if you would like, the activity leader would be maybe a great position to fill the role of theatrics. I don't know if you've ever had a mind for the theatrics.
Well, I had a chance to catch Othello and A Midsummer Night's Dream, but I'm probably not as experienced as some other people, so I'll let them do that.
Very well. I've seen Othello a few times myself. It's quite the spectacle.
It is. To the kitchen.
Nevertheless, let's go. You guys arrive and you see, very similar to the rest of the buildings, a mostly wooden building with a tin roof. This one has much larger doors on the front, and it's got a lot more windows as well on it. It's almost got windows like every 2 to 3 feet along the front and the sides. And as you enter in, there are rows and rows of heavy wooden tables and benches. And there is like a bar that splits the building lengthwise in half. And you can see just above the bar is like a cooking area behind. And it seems like food is prepared, put up onto this bar counter, and then it's kind of like a pick as you go type thing, almost like a buffet style. There are several other people in here already. You can see that the food is just coming out onto the line, and the director brings you in, comes in with you, and recommends that you take a seat wherever you'd like. That dinner would be ready soon, and she turns to the lot of you and goes, This all but concludes the orientation for the most part, at least for today. I will expect to see the three of you at your stations in the morning. Marty, I will see you at the lake. You can check in with Oliver around 8 a.m. I'm hoping that the two of you can switch out in around 4-hour shifts. Colette, there is a nurse's hut. It's just down beside the kids' cabin, and again, 8 o'clock start. I would expect you to work till about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And then Sadie, I'll actually be working with you tomorrow, helping you out with some of the activities around camp, seeing where I can fit you best. Nevertheless, I am going to retire to my cabin. I will take some food with me to eat. I'm actually having some work done there. I have a small expansion that they're adding on. So if you see some construction crews coming in and out of the campsite, they're just working on my cabin. I will leave the three of you. Do you have any questions before I go?
What's your impression of that old man across the lake? Old Man Jeffries?
Old Man Jeffries. You know, I've talked to him a few times. He's quite the eccentric man. He has a very well articulated history of the campsite here and the lake itself. He has been around just about as long as the camp has itself, if not a little bit longer. And although he is a bit outlandish, he's good for a story, for sure.
Thanks.
So he's been around for a while, and the disappearances just started. Did anything change around the time that the disappearances started?
Not around the direct time. The only real changes we've had, other than the addition to my cabin, would be that we have recently been acquired by Placitech. The acquisition was merely monetary. They purchased the name and the land. Meanwhile, we are allowed to continue running our campsite. I work directly under Placitech now. However, they own the rights to the land here.
And who is doing the construction on your cabin?
I've actually contracted, the same team that Placitech used. They said that they get a contractor rate through them, and they were able to get it quoted and finished up in the summertime, so I went with their quote.
Do you have a name?
Yes, it's actually just Placitech Build. That's just the name of the company. It's just an offshoot, really. They're dabbling in a few different industries. They're a tech company mostly, but they also have some offshoots as well.
Are the construction workers unsupervised?
Well, they're supervised by me. But otherwise, when I'm not there, like currently, I would suppose so. They are unsupervised, yes.
Thanks.
Well, I will let you introduce yourselves to the rest of the counselors. There is a table, and she points over where you can see Oliver and a couple of the other counselors sitting towards the edge of the room. If you have any questions, please feel free to come by my cabin at any time. I have an open door policy. Nevertheless, we will see you in the morning. And she exits and leaves you guys in the cafeteria. There are lively tables all around you with children, but there seems to be one where you've got Oliver and a couple of the other counselors. Noted to be missing from here, however, is the head camp counselor, Artemis. He does not seem to be eating dinner with the rest of the counselors.
Something tells me he does that on purpose.
How old is How old was Artemis, roughly?
He didn't ask, so I said if you have to put a guess on it, like he's a young adult, like 20, 24, yeah.
Oh, so Colette's age, okay.
Yeah.
But an elf, so like times
But an elf.
40 or something. So anyway, out of character, I'd like to know what you guys want to investigate. Is it the Old Man Jeffries, the Placitech Build Workers, the Placitech Corporate, the Barnacus Bradshaw missing cook who was bullied, or something else?
I think Placitech headquarters. I don't know. Construction workers are very rarely the criminal masterminds. They're usually nice guys. Men in suits. That's where most of the world's evil comes in.
But the corporation's not going to be around here. We can't really investigate them around here.
I don't know.
Well, the problem is that they are around here, Colette. It's player. We just have to find them.
True.
Yeah, because I think the construction workers already have their own kids at home. I don't think they want any more. I'm still not ruling out the Soylent Green thing, but we'll see.
Could be powered by a forsaken child. Something powered by a forsaken child. Or children.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I think the company overtook this place and that's when this started. So my vote is on that company.
And it could be a 1-2 punch. Like if the company did something that upset the sleeping ancient one here, so it would require information about the lake for us to solve the mystery. It's not a bad idea to talk to Old Man Jeffries just to end that part of the investigation, because I feel like that's probably the end. There's talking to him will be like the last thing.
Yeah.
And then we can focus on the company.
Let's do that first thing in the morning. Old men like it when you show up really early. It shows gumption.
During the night might be an action time that if we skip some stuff.
That's true.
Things might be happening in the night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think we should go there now?
That's a good question. I mean, if he dies tonight, it would be really sad if we were like, hey, we're here first thing in the morning. Show up and he's dead. And we're like, there goes all that information about the lake's history.
That's very true.
If he just vanishes like Barnacus.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go see. I feel like if we got to talk to somebody, we should do it sooner rather than later. Otherwise, they might poof and vanish.
Yeah, let's do it right after dinner.
Oh, we can take him some food.
Yeah! We take him some crummy food. Yeah!
Okay. All right. So in character, what we're saying is, I wonder if the old man Jeffries is hungry, seeing this plethora of food. I'm wishing to share it with the elderly.
As long as we don't call him the elderly, I think that'll be fine.
I load up a plate, for him.
I load up a plate for me.
All right, yeah. There's extra plates and stuff like that, so you're able to sneak off a plate here of food. Is there anything else in the cafeteria you guys wanted to do other than bring him some food?
I mean, assume that I hit on Oliver some more.
Yeah,
we can
actually,
play through that.
He sits at the table next to you, and you guys have to have kind of like small talk. It's at the table, right? Like there's a lot. You guys are like shoulder to shoulder, kind of in the counselor's table. But he does mention again. He goes, "I do hope I see you guys by the campfire tonight. It should be a fun time."
Oh, we wouldn't miss it for the world. I spent all this time teaching you how to get your shorts properly short. I mean, I have to be there to see you show it off.
You see, he's still got the measuring tape, and he's got like 3 inches exactly.
Yeah. I know, honey. People have been lying to you about how long an inch is for a long time.
You all get ready to go then? Are you headed out to see, what is it again? Old Man Jeffries.
Yes, we'll do that before the fire tonight.
Okay.
Just
So
check on him, see what happens.
Before dark when he falls asleep.
I don't know if Colette will check out the nurse's hut. If there's anything unusual there she might see. Just otherwise, she's just going to go there, make sure she has all the supplies she needs and everything's all sorted and neat. Rather.
Yeah, I will say I'll make it kind of quick because there's not too much at the nurse's hut really. But as you go in there, the one thing I will say that you notice is everything is as you would expect it to be, sub the fact that most of the medications and things that are provided here all seem to be again through like an offshoot company of this Plasitech.
Plasitech. Interesting.
But nevertheless, you guys move down kind of, you guys are, let's say, on the south side of the lake here, this big round lake. You're kind of southwest right now at the dining hall. You guys make your way up about, counterclockwise around the lake towards the north end. And it's starting to get nighttime out here, like the sun's just setting over the horizon. And you see this old rundown hut kind of set into this path that leads into a clearing in the trees. The hut is visible from outside of the clearing. It's about like a 20-foot path from the outside of the forest to this guy's hut. And there's a light on inside.
I think we just knock respectfully, right?
Yeah.
Okay. A couple quick knocks at the door and you hear from the inside, Yeah, I'm coming. And after a few minutes, you hear some scuffling along some wood floors and the clanking of metal as he slides the door open to meet you guys. What can I help you with?
I gratulate you, neighbor, and have brought you some sustenance.
Oh, is that some of the slop from the camp?
Yes.
You know what? I was just about to cook me a meal, but I suppose this'll do. You all didn't come down here.
It's the best we had.
Y'all didn't come down here just to drop off an old man some food now, did you?
We are new counselors, and we were curious about this area and its history.
Oh, yeah. Looking for some stories about the lake, are you?
If you'd be so kind.
I'm always happy to tell a story to someone willing to lend an ear. Come on inside. We'll get you seated down, and you can ask me any questions you want to know.
Yay.
So you come inside. It's a very small cabin here. It's like a one-bedroom. Everything's open. There's no rooms. It's just one big square building with a bed off into the corner with a small nightstand and a rounded wooden table that looks like it's hand-carved with some hand-carved wooden chairs as well. You see he sets the plate down with a big clang on the wooden table as he reams out the chair and leans back and sits down onto it. He kicks a chair out from the other side of the table and gestures for the three of you to sit. And he goes, looking for some stories about the lake, or are you looking more camp history? I got a little bit of both, if you'd like.
¿Por qué no los dos?
Some nice Spanish you got there, my friend. Look, if you're looking for information about the camp, it's been around for about, it's going on about 44 years now. Hasn't been open for too long, not nearly as long as this lake's been around, close to 70, 80 years. There's a natural spring that my daddy opened up underneath one of the dry creek beds, and it's what actually ended up filling up that there lake. About a couple decades later, and there was individual who bought up some of the land around the lake and started up a small campsite. That was up until last year when some big wigs from up north came down and bought up the land.
Why didn't you sell? I'm sure they asked you.
Well, my daddy built this house, and as far as I see it, he also built that lake. And I'm more than happy to share it. I'm a generous man, but I don't want to give up my slice of heaven.
Did they just offer you money for your house?
Oh, they offered me money, yeah. They offered me another place to stay, money for it. They told me they'd put me up on another lake, but I told them that ain't my daddy's lake. That ain't Lake Latham.
But nothing else besides the money, right? No threats?
I was never really threatened, no. I stood my ground, and they were going at me quite a few months here in the last year, but I stood my ground and held firm, and they haven't really bugged me much since.
Are you concerned about how some children and camp counselors have gone missing in the past few weeks? Does it make you uncertain and unable to couch?
Well, if you're asking me if I'm stirring around at night because of them their disappearances, I'll tell you that's a strong no. I keep myself strapped and loaded here, and I feel like I can protect myself just fine. But it is a shame what happened to them there kids, and those teenagers that went missing, the counselors. It's a shame. It's a shame. I've known quite a few of them through the years, and I've met my fair share of nice children here at the camp. I always love seeing the kids play in the water. I think my daddy'd be looking down with a smile.
Has anything like this ever happened before that you know of?
There's been a few odd disappearances. I've been questioned by some of the local authorities here and then. They don't like that I live out here all by myself. They think I'm a creepy old man, and I've come to know and respect that name that they've given me. But to answer your question, no, not really.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. You seem very well adjusted.
Well, it's hard living out here, but kids like you, they keep me sane. I tend to my property, and I see them every day having fun, and it brings a smile to my face. But for that camp, I tell you, this new management they got going on, they're looking to expand. They're digging. I see that the director has a new section going on in their cabin. It's a little too much if you ask me. A man should be able to do with what he has. Why do you need all that space? I mean, I'm doing fine just here with what I got.
That's a good point. Well, What do you, I mean, I know you know about these disappearances and you've been out here longer than anyone. What do you think? Any ideas?
Well, if you ask me, when you get big wigs coming around, sniffing around land like this, people that are involved with multiple different, companies and they're taking their company in different directions, it's never good for the people. These types of people, my daddy warned me about them. He always said if anyone ever comes in here trying to buy this land up, that I should hold firm, and that's what I'm doing. If you ask me if there's something weird going on here, that'd be the first place I'd look.
Did he ever tell you why? It seems like a very specific warning.
Well, the whole reason that we ended up here was company came and bought up the land that my daddy used to live on. He forced them out. He ended up poisoning the land and ended up driving my mama crazy. They experimented on the water tables down there, and they pushed them out any means they could. And, we ended up here and okay, but mama didn't make it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. I don't want to see the same thing happen here.
Well, okay, so I feel like we know a little bit about the camp now. You mentioned there was something else about the lake, specifically?
Well, it's just strange. This lake has always been a peaceful lake. I've lived here my entire life, and there's been the odd, drowning and things like that, people that can't handle the water, but these disappearances, it's not like anything I've ever seen. The lake, there's stories that, this area is cursed, that there's monsters. I've lived here my entire life, and I'll tell you a matter of fact, I have never seen anything of that sort.
So where do you think these rumors are coming from?
Idle kids talking. You leave kids long enough, they get scared, they'll come up with any story.
So you think there's nothing to it?
I've been here long enough. I think it's just kids talking. If there was something, I would have seen it by now.
Good to know.
Did you know Barnacus?
I knew of him. I don't know him personally, but I believe he's the chef down at the camp, is he not?
Yes, he's missing too. It's not just kids. Staff is starting to go missing as well.
Well, hopefully they can figure out where these people keep going, because at some point the authorities are going to look to me. Creepy old man around the lake. It hasn't looked good in past years, and it won't look good moving forward.
Pish posh, you're not even that old.
A bead of sweat comes down his neck.
Don't take much, huh? Anything else you want to know, Sadie?
Nope, that's it. Dost thou require future sustenance?
Well, I won't say no if you want to bring me some meals moving forward, but I tell you, this right here in front of me, this ain't as good as what I've been brought in the past. Hopefully, if that chef is missing, y'all can find him soon, because this just doesn't do. You see, he puts his fork down back in the slop.
We'll do our best.
I'm with you.
Step 1, find Barnabas. Step 2, everything else.
Okay, well, maybe we should get to that campfire.
You guys make it down back around the lake, and the campfire is actually just behind the camp counselors, just in a secluded patch in the forest behind the counselor's hut. So you guys make it back towards the hut or cabins, and you make your way around towards the back, towards this clearing, and you can see kind of through the trees this lively bonfire that they've already got started. You can hear laughing and joking as you make your way down the pathway, and as you make your way through, you hear it sounds like people are almost like laughing all at like one person. You can hear in the distance, like as you're just coming up, you hear, "Oliver, come on, man! There's no such thing. That thing doesn't exist. It's just something you saw on your walk back to the camp one day. It's probably all in your head." And Oliver turns back and goes, "No, seriously, guys. The Mothman exists. I saw it flying around. It's got 2 big beady eyes and giant wings. Just because you guys haven't seen it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Trust me."
I want to hear more about this Mothman, Oliver.
Oh, Marty, Sadie, Colette, please. It's nice of you to join us. Take a seat. He scooches over on the log.
We wouldn't miss it for the world. I sit down next to him, letting our thighs rub just a little bit.
red and white shorts on red and white shorts.
Sadie doesn't sit down, but goes to stare into the bonfire, giving them some personal space.
Yeah, well, personal space for the static cling of our poor quality fabric shorts rubbing together. Yes.
Does Colette happen to see Artemis?
Artemis is not here.
Oh, that might not be good.
Yeah, one time missing is like maybe he doesn't eat lunch with everybody or dinner with everybody. 2 times missing is like, do we have another disappearance? I stare deeply into the fire.
Colette is going to go to Oliver and say, Oliver, do you happen to know where Artemis's cabin is? I imagine he must be there if he's not here, right?
Oh, Artemis, he lives with us in the cabin. If you're looking for him, he's probably out taking a walk or something. He kind of comes in close. She goes, I got to be honest, we didn't invite Artemis.
Oh, why is that? Why is that?
The guy's a bit of a dweeb. I mean, his name is literally a cop.
She looks a little back, but he's such a good-looking man.
Artemis is good looking and he has good intentions, but he's a bit of a worrywart, and it's hard to relax when a person like that is around.
Plus, Oliver clearly looks better.
I could see that, but I think we clicked a little bit. I was just wondering if you've seen him since dinner, because we didn't see him at dinner.
No, actually, I haven't seen him around. He usually returns a little bit later. He's spends a lot of time nearby the stage. He's a bit of a writer, so he spends his nights jotting in his journal, usually down by the stage. A bit of a not very much of a people person, Artemis. You will probably see him making his way back to the cabin any minute now.
And are these lizards normal?
Lizards. You know what?
The ones in the fire? These ones? Is that regular? Is that normal? Like, I have never seen a lizard crawling on fire before. This is weird.
You know,
and you guys don't see anything.
I see some coals, young lady, but I don't see any. Did you say lizards?
Oh, this is one of the, give me a sec here. And I reach towards the fire, but it's hot. So I'm just like, and like, I get a stick and I pull out one of the coals. And I'm like, oh, I got one. Okay, give me a sec. And I'm just dragging like a burning hot log out of the fire. And I go over to the log.
Oh, be careful. Be careful.
I get my hand and I really close it. I'm like, snatch. And I bring my hand back. I'm like, oh, it's warm. And I'm like hot potatoing something that is invisible. And then I'm like, yep, just 1 second here. And I just like kind of peel. And there's a little fire lizard in my palm.
Oh my.
Colette's going to look impressed.
I kick the wood back into the fire. Oh, he's so snuggly. You like it warm, huh? And I like put him on my shoulder.
Colette, did your friend just pull a burning log out of that fire and proceed to pet it?
Apparently. Sadie, are your hands feeling okay?
It's like having a heat pack. I really like it on the cold night. Oh, I'm going to keep this one.
Oliver's like, oh, that's pretty rad.
You want to pet it?
Can I?
I reach my hand out. It's way too hot to you.
You hear like the sizzle as his hand gets close to it. He's, that hurts.
It looks like a leopard gecko.
Oh, so it actually is a lizard. It's not like a piece of wood that she thinks is a lizard.
No, it's a leopard gecko.
Okay.
That does fire melee type attack. It's a self-defense lizard / hand warmer.
Yeah.
I'm doing my own thing. You guys keep doing your thing.
She turns and goes, that is wild. By the way, my name's Shelly, and I have to say that is probably one of the raddest things anyone has ever done around here. You know, we were actually just going around telling horror stories, and Oliver was being, he was being a little bit of a bummer, telling us about the Mothman. I don't think he exists, but do any of you guys have any cool stories?
Well, it depends on what you think is cool. Are we counting only true stories?
Well, I mean, if you count Oliver's story, then I guess not. It's any story that you can make up, really. Well, we're telling horror stories personally.
I mean, Oliver, just because other people can't see something doesn't mean it's not real.
That's true.
From their perspective, they can't see it, and from your perspective, you can see it, so you're both right.
That's fair. That's very fair. You know, maybe we're giving Oliver a bit of a hard time. If you want to believe in the Mothman, Oliver, go right ahead. Until I see it with my own eyes, though, I remain a little bit of a skeptic. But I guess you, Marty, do you have any stories to tell?
Well, I mean, just the last few years of the history of our friends back home. I mean, some of the stories insects that turn people into zombies. We had some vengeful gods try to kill us. I mean, people, we were stalked by a gang of shapeshifter doppelgangers. There's a lot of real scary stuff that happens in the world.
You guys sounds like you've really been through it. I gotta say that's more than what the rest of us have to say. I mean, I've heard stories of giant moths tonight, man-eating sharks that can walk on land. We've heard quite the array, but I gotta say, dealing with that much horror, I don't know how you keep your cool.
Can we go back to the man-eating sharks that walk on land? Who saw that?
Well, it's not really anything that I saw. It's a story that my brother told me. It's just a story.
Yeah, what's the story?
Well, my brother swears that when he was in college that him and his buddies were partying one night at the beach, and his friend Dave got somehow dragged off into the ocean. And when they went to investigate that night, they had found the strangest tracks through the sand. And when they looked out, they swear they could see, walking on two legs, the form of a shark. But I don't believe it.
Do we have any way to verify this?
Good question.
No, but they do continue and they go, if you want a real story, there is said to be some kind of swamp monster that comes out every now and again, haunting the children. I'm sure if anyone were to have seen it, it would have been you, Oliver. And Oliver replies, he goes, I've never seen a swamp monster. I've seen my fair share of kids get into a tussle in the water, but never anything crawl out. And other than that, they actually look over towards you, Colette, and they go, Colette, how about you? Do you have any stories you'd like to share?
Oh, I have a few stories, but not the kind that are good around the campfire. Or are there any kids here, or just the counselors?
It's just the counselors.
Not scary ones to tell around the campfire, to tell you the truth, but I have a story or two.
The night goes on for a little while longer, and everyone continues kind of telling stories around the fire. They kind of just let the logs burn out throughout the night. You see a few people pull out a couple flasks with some booze in it and stuff like that, some beer. Everyone's passing around drinks, but the night kind of edges on until like 10, 11 o'clock at night. And there is a curfew at the camp. So right around 11, you see they kind of start kicking some dirt down into the fire. And they look back and they go, well, I guess if... we should probably get going before the director makes their rounds and realizes that we've stayed up late again. If you want, and Oliver turns towards you, Marty, in the morning, please meet me down by the dock, and we'll work together at figuring out the shifts.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we're also bunkmates. We can talk about it, all night.
Oh, you got the lower bunk?
Well, I'm normally a top bunk, but we'll see what happens.
The night cuts to black as you guys hear the ruffles of sheets and the blowing of wind from outside as you make your way back to the counselor's cabin. Are you guys, I guess the question would be for you, after the night's festivities here, are you going to bed tonight? Or what is the plans for tonight?
It sounds like we got options.
So I will say, like, the rest of the counselors all have had a little bit to drink. They all hit the hay and go to sleep fairly quickly. The night, it's around 11, 12 o'clock at this point, and it is pitch black outside, short of the moon and the stars. And you are pretty much the only ones left awake. So it's your choice what you guys do. If you're sleeping, going around, it's up to you.
They mentioned... Sorry, go ahead. They mentioned that Artemis was by the stage, correct?
Yes, they
Hung up
mentioned
by the
that.
stage.
Yeah, he's normally by the stage writing in his journal. As you get back to the counselor hut, you do actually see him asleep in his bed.
Colette's going to look relieved. Well, at least he didn't disappear. He's didn't want him to disappear, Colette says. Okay, that's the only special thing Colette was gonna do. So
Okay.
If we are sleeping, I suggest that we take watches.
Shifts,
Because, yeah. So that way, of the disappeared people, we three are not among them. Or perhaps, do we want to be disappeared so that we can follow the villain to their lair? Should we leave breadcrumbs? One of us will sleep peacefully.
I'm
with the
kind
string.
of impervious, so it makes sense for me to... If somebody's gonna sleep and see if they get disappeared, like, what can they do to me, you know?
Okay, so you sleep outside the cabin, next to the campfire, as if you'd fallen asleep drunk.
Yes. And you guys keep watch, see if you see anything. Maybe take shifts, get some sleep, of course.
Yeah, we'll watch your body and see where you get taken. Follow you there.
Exactly. And if something happens where you can't follow me, if and when I will wake up, I will just keep an eye out on the horizon, because I will try to do a sunbeam straight up into the sky.
That makes it easier, yes. Should we tie something around you that, like, smells strongly so that as you get dragged away, we can perhaps follow you later? Would you like a lavender satchel?
That's much more pleasant than where I thought you were going.
We could do bacon as well. Also useful for trailing.
I like bacon.
Okay.
Smoking.
We'll
Yeah,
get
give me a
some
pocket full of greasy bacon.
pocket full of greasy bacon. If we do have
Lot
to, like,
funnier.
use scent dogs to track you, it'll be easier.
Much better
Yeah,
than
all right.
a breadcrumb trail, a bacon waft trail.
I'm up in a tree watching Marty sleep next to the campfire.
All right. So the night winds down, and throughout your guard shift, it's going fairly unsuspectingly as the night moves on. But as a couple hours go by, you start to see this creepy, thick fog set in around the campsite. It restricts your view, so you can almost not even see to the other side of the lake now at this point. And it cuts off the stars and creates almost like a silhouette of the moon rather than your bright moon that you're used to. It's kind of overcast. It almost looks like a light behind a sheet in the sky. And as this fog sets in, you hear a blood-curdling scream echo throughout the campsite.
Aw, not for Marty.
And we are going to take a short break there. We will be back very shortly, and we will pick up from where we just were. Joining us today has been Colette de Winter,
Hello.
Sadie Duca,
We shall see what the second part endues. Check 10 out of 10.
and Marty Flame.
I hope it's not Oliver.
All right.
Leave us
Yes.
leave us a review on iTunes, and we will read it on air at this point in the show.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye. See you
Bye.
soon.
Today's mid-episode shout-out is from Blighthouse Studio, who says, quote, "The Sprouting is a Call of Cthulhu actual play podcast. We explore the eldritch horror of a plant post-apocalypse as our humans attempt to survive in a world where mystical plants rule and eldritch bargains twist reality. Find The Sprouting on all your podcatchers." End quote. You can arrange for us to read your shout-out at firebreathingkittenspodcast.com through our partnership with Buy Me a Coffee. We have paperback, ebook, hardcover, and audiobook adaptations of our adventures on Amazon and Audible. Lastly, we don't pay to advertise our show, so the only way we can grow is if you tell someone about us. Is there an episode that would make someone you know smile? Tell them about it. Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody, to Fire Breathing Kittens. We are playing Summer Camp Slayers, and we are just getting back into things. But before we do, I am going to roll a d20, and I am going to see who will be doing our recap. Give me 1 second to roll. All right, and I will have the 3 other players roll as well. If everybody could roll me a d20. Whoever is closest to 19.
I got a 4.
13.
A 2.
So sounds like me.
So I believe that is Colette.
So we were hired to, the fire-breathing kittens were hired, specifically Colette, to investigate a group of missing people over at Camp Latham, which is a summer camp for kids around the Lake Latham. We had an incident where another lifeguard or counselor named Oliver was saved by Marty. And we also met Artemis Copperpenny, the head of the counselors. And we found out that people have been disappearing lately, more than usual and longer than usual for the last 2 or 3 weeks. In our investigation, we found out that this past year, Placitech has bought up the camp, and they've also filled the nurse's tent and with medical supplies and bought the car that transported us in. We also met the old man whose cabin is also on the property. His father was the one who created the lake in the first place. And we've also noticed that the cook is missing along with all the other kids and counselors. And as we were settling down for the night, we heard a horrible blood-curdling scream, which is rarely a good sign. And I don't think it's a good sign here either. And I think that catches us up.
I think that just about does it, yeah. And that is where we find ourselves now, as that blood-curdling scream makes its way echoing across Camp Latham. The 2 of you, which would be Sadie and Colette, are awoken by this ever so gently.
Oh.
It's not necessarily...
I wasn't asleep.
Oh.
I was in a tree watching Marty sleep. Yeah.
Okay. But if Colette, if you were sleeping, but if you were, you would have been awoken by this. It is ever so faint. When I say blood curdling, it's reached you from a distance. You can hear that because it kind of has that reverby echo of coming across the campsite. It sounds, from best you can tell, coming from like around the kids' camps, like the kid cabins. But you're not exactly sure, as that shares the same vicinity to the stage as well as the dining hall. So Sadie and Marty, the 2 of you hear this, and I'll say that Colette inside, you do not see any of the other camp counselors arise. But as you take a look around, you do see one missing bed, one missing person in a bed.
Does Colette know whose bed that is?
Yes, you would know because it is Artemis's. Somebody that you have been keeping at least somewhat special eye on.
Can she tell where the scream came from? Or you just kind of gave the general direction, but anything more specific?
I'll say give me a crafty check. I'll say it's a DC 6, unless you can add anything to it.
Would it be crafty, or she has perceptive?
That would fall under crafty. So I will say that it would be 3d6 for you, but it's still a DC 6.
Okay, she got a 6, a 3, and a 4.
6, 3, 4. Okay. I'll say that it sounds like it most likely came from the kids' cabin area.
Will from where she is, how close are Marty and Sadie?
We're at the bonfire.
Yeah,
you're still hanging out there,
which I assume is fairly far away from the kids' cabin, but we could come running.
Yeah, I imagine that I am. I fell out of a tree, and now I'm running.
That's kind of what elves do, right? Fall out of trees and run fast.
All right. I'll say that you guys reconvene then. Marty and Sadie, you guys make your way from the camp fire over towards the counselor's cabin. and the three of you are standing out in
Oh, sorry. I'm not running to the counselor's cabin. I'm running to the scream.
the scream. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, Marty, you hear this scream cut through. You see that Sadie starts booking it towards the sound here. What do you do?
I am also going to follow Sadie as best my abilities.
All right. It is very dark out here, especially because of the fog that has set in around the camp. You make your way out. You can only see, I'll say, about 30 or 40 feet ahead of you as you're running, but you've been orientated at least well enough. It's not a huge campsite here, and you're able to make your way towards that sound. Colette, are you making your way towards the sound as well? That's the question.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the three of you start making your way towards the sound. I will say, Sadie, you, since you kind of fell out and it sounded like you were quick off the trot to go and take a look at the sound. As you're making your way towards the sound here, you see out in the darkness some glowing, floating lights start to form. They almost look like stars at first, but the horizon doesn't make sense. They're almost too low on the ground, and they float just in front of you, and they seem to be maintaining a distance from you as you run.
Swamp spirits, fairies of the dark, begone foul fiends of the devil.
That's a
You hear
lot.
these chimes and these little wispy lights. As you say that, they start to kind of get a little bit closer to you, but they don't seem to be like harmful in a way. They almost dance around you, almost like fireflies. They kind of like bob in front of your face and around you.
Sadie's punching him. Yeah.
You're punching them, taking them out. All right. You see the lights kind of take a far berth away from you, and they hover out in front of you in the distance. It almost looks like they're beckoning you in a certain direction. I will ask you, they are taking you in a different direction than the way the scream came from. They're looking like they want you to go in a certain direction, but it's your choice what you do here, not the lights. What does Sadie do?
Because of how she was raised and the stories that she was like, that are part of her culture, there is a 0% probability that she would follow these.
All right. So you continue towards the sound. Next up, I will say, is Marty. Marty, you see these same lights. You are just short of Sadie here, not very far behind her, and you see these lights form in the distance. Similar to Sadie, they dance around you, and they seem to be beckoning you in a specific direction away from the sound. Which way do you go?
That was directed at Sadie, correct?
No, that was for you, Marty. So you see
sorry.
these same dancing lights in front of you, and you have a choice either to go towards the lights, which are leading you away from the sound of the scream, or you can continue towards the scream.
No, sorry. I thought I indicated before that I'm just still following Sadie.
Just going straight towards
personally,
Sadie.
I would have followed the lights, but if Sadie took off towards the scream, I'm going to follow her. We don't split the party.
That's how we survive.
All right, and then that last up then would be Colette. Colette, you see these dancing lights form in front of you. Are you heading towards the scream, or it looks like they're trying to pull you away in a different direction?
Did she see Sadie?
You don't
Did
see
you see
Sadie,
Sadie?
but you know the
Okay.
direction of the scream.
Okay, she's going to go in the direction of the screen.
All right. Okay. So as you head out into the direction of the scream, you see out of the darkness of light or the night, I'll say, Sadie, you see this first. You see the kids' cabin, and from the inside, it's a light with these blue floating lights, the same lights that you saw before.
The devil's lights.
And Marty, you come up shortly after Sadie, and you see the same thing. The kids' cabin, it seems like these blue floating lights behind the window fill this cabin, and they're kind of slowly escaping out of the cabin, going in every which direction.
Do they look like the same floating lights as before?
They do.
Can I see the kid that I assume was taken?
Not from here outside the cabin, but the door is left ajar to the cabin.
And Sadie is running towards the door.
Yes. Yeah.
I am going to cast Sunbeam or Solar Beam at one of these floating lights.
I love how they're clearly friendly, but because of our cultural misunderstanding, we're like, die, helpful fairy
Are
fiends.
they? I'm just trying to stun it a little bit. I want to catch one.
Who says that they're friendly? That's what they want you to think.
All right, so are you casting, I'll say there's some slipping out of the cabin. Are you just casting it at like one of the ones that are slipping out of the cabin then?
Yeah, one that's like escaping.
Okay, go ahead and it's going to be a crafty roll, so it'll be 2d6.
But 3 because it's my special, it's my quirk, correct?
Yep.
Or my perk. Because I am a caster. What's the DC?
It's a DC 6.
Oh, 415. So, nope.
You see the light come down, and it does strike the floating light, but it seems to go straight through it. It just floats there in the air.
Okay.
Its hitbox is 1 pixel.
Oops. I will continue running for the door.
Colette, you see this as you come running up from behind as Sadie and Marty have just arrived. You see this brilliant ray of light come casting down, landing. It actually looks like it hits this thing. It just doesn't look like you can almost damage it. It's like light, floating light, right?
So the light hits the light?
Yep, and the light remains.
Well, that wasn't very helpful. She is, but with all this light, can she see what's in the cabin?
You see like the shadow of like the rows of bunk beds, and you don't see any movement from inside. It looks like either everybody's sleeping or gone or something's going on inside. You don't see any movement, but you see the bunk beds.
And about how would you be able to get closer to get a better look, or the fog too? She'd have to get like really close to it because of the fog.
You guys would have to probably get inside or up at least to the windows to peer inside to see a little bit more. The way that this building works is there's a set of stairs that come up to almost like a patio in the front. And then the patio, you can kind of peer in through the windows. And there's also a door, which is currently ajar.
Marty, you're quite a slab of man. Would you like to open the door first?
I was planning on barging through that door.
Yes,
Perfect.
if I have reached the door, I have barged through it.
All right. You open the door, and inside you see floating lights everywhere. These little wisps of energy dancing throughout the air in here. And all of the kids in here are sound asleep in their bunks. But you see the lights almost converge on a specific bunk.
Is it occupied?
It is.
By?
It is occupied as you guys get closer by what looks to be the shape of an elven girl.
It's that little girl.
She is made of this blue energy. And you see every, 30 seconds to a minute, another one of these blue wispy lights detaches from her body and adds to the room.
Oh, is it Marcy?
It's hard to tell, so I'll say it's a low DC. Give me a DC 4 crafty check. And it's a 2d6 unless you want to add anything to it.
I got a 2 and a 6.
2 and a 6. It is Marcy.
Oh. I think that makes me pause for a second because I was so certain that the will-o'-the-wisp, were going to steal my soul. So, there's a mild cultural misunderstanding there. And now I'm like, maybe it was Marcy. Okay, so outside they're trying to go somewhere, and inside they're coming off of Marcy.
I think Marcy is becoming that. For some reason, Marcy is turning into these things.
I shake Marcy if I can, or else my hands go right through her.
Your hands do essentially that. She's incorporeal for the most part. She's like this floating light body, essentially, in the bed.
I try to wake another child.
Yep. I'll say the child next to her arouses actually not very easily at all.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Yeah, otherwise people would have noticed this before.
Yeah.
Takes you a few minutes, actually. I won't say a few minutes, about a minute or so to arouse.
Oh, I wouldn't. No, I would just be like, slap. And if they're not awake, be like, okay, magic spell. Got it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So there's probably more kids than we can carry out of this building. So if this is an environmental effect, sorry, cabin full of kids, we can't save you, right, guys? I mean,
How many kids are there?
There are about, I'll say, 60 or so kids.
60. Okay, yeah.
There are,
Yeah.
there's about 4 or 5 counselors, so there's enough kids to keep the counselors busy.
And they're all out. They're all out of it. They're all zonked.
They are all out of it, yes. I will say that on Marcy, you do see, it almost looks like a necklace. And out of her entire incorporeal form, all that exists is it almost looks like a choker band around her neck. And it is the only corporeal piece of her, the only piece that you can see that isn't this floating light.
Well, that's weird. Can I unfasten the necklace?
You could try. Yeah, you can certainly try. I will
Rolls
say,
to unfasten necklace. I love D&D.
it's a complicated looking clasp on this thing. It is made of metal. I'll say it's an agile check, so it's going to be a DC 5 agile check.
I got a 6.
6? Perfect. So you see that there is this mechanism to it. At first it looked like a choker, but as you kind of look a little bit closer, it's actually more of like a collar of sorts. And as you get around to the back of it, you unclasp this piece of metal, and it takes you a minute to find the clasp, but it finally clicks open, and on the inside of it, you see an engraving that says Placitech.
Does she still keep incorporeal wisping away?
That's an interesting question. She does not. All of these lights that you saw before, they start to gather nearby you guys, and they join back into her form, and you see as the last few lights come in, she turns corporeal again, and she what no you have to go save them.
Save who?
You were supposed to go to the lake, the monster by the lake. You have to help him.
Come with us, and I carry her. Wait, no, I'm not strong. I am a little elf. Marty, carry her.
Yep, easily.
She can explain on the way to the lake.
I scoop her right up.
You have to be more sensitive to cultural misunderstandings next time you send a message.
You scoop her up, and you start making your way towards the lake here. With the lights not there anymore, it takes you a minute, but you're able to make your way down there. As you reach the lake, you see in front of you is a very, very choppy surface.
Before we got to the lake, we made her keep talking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel like I'm still not sure what's happening.
She's got to tweet. She's got to tweet the deets here.
As you continue getting some information out of her, she goes, I was trying to lead you guys over to the lake. There's this man, and he's been turned into one of those things, and he doesn't know better, and he's gonna hurt somebody. And she goes, that creepy guy, he snuck in and he put this stupid collar on me. And ever since then, I was turning into these weird floating lights. And when I saw you guys running around camp, I thought maybe you could help. But then you didn't listen to me. And then you came back and you smashed the collar. And
I rolled a 6. I just unfastened it.
Unfasten the collar. Sorry, unfasten the collar.
Well, we're here now. We can try and figure out how to put an end to this.
Do you know what the man looks like?
Well, he had ears, kind of like yours, but not quite as big, and he was wearing this dorky vest, and well, he had a name badge on, but he put the collar on so fast I couldn't see it.
Is that Artemis? Was Artemis an elf?
Yep. And then he had a dorky. I don't know if he had a dorky vest, but he was dressed as a dork, according to all the other counselors.
Yes, he's been described as dorky. Sorry, hon. It sounds like your man's the bad guy.
Well, Colette says, well, I'm already in a relationship, but, it's still kind of disappointing.
Isn't it?
As we run to the lake, by the way. We've been doing that this whole time.
Yes.
Well, we're very good at talking and running, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Probably some
Great cardio skills.
Yep.
We have endurance, sir.
Probably some close calls along the way, I would imagine, as everyone keeps turning around to discuss things. But you do make it to the lake, and as you do, you see the surface to the water is very choppy and rough. Before it was like a lake, just completely flat and serene, but now the waters dance up and down almost as if there is some kind of tide, and you see arising from the water in front of you is a green-scaled, finned swamp creature of sorts. Muck and mud slips off of him as he arises out of the water, and he lets out a roar into the night.
So is it more of a creature of the Black Lagoon or more of a swamp thing? Sounds more like creature of the Black Lagoon.
More of creature of the Black Lagoon-esque. You do see that it has a similar looking collar along its neck, the same metal looking band, and as it arises out of the muck, you see two little tiny muddy sprites come up out of the mud as well. These little floating creatures made out of mud come up out of the water beside him and kind of trudge up onto the land. Looks out at the three of you, I should say four of you, and all he can let out is a blood-curdling roar at this point. Doesn't seem like he can really communicate.
Is he wearing a dorky vest?
Good question.
He's not. He's not wearing anything sub the muck that slips off of him. Just a grotesque swamp creature.
I wish I knew football, tactic words for how to tackle someone. Like, if you've ever seen Jurassic Park and they're like, the velociraptor you're looking at isn't the one you should be concerned with. It's the two from the side that are going to get you. I want to, direct our... I'm like, come on. Let's take the collar off this person. Tactically. I don't know any words for that. Do you guys sports?
Yeah. Yeah, I sport.
Sports words.
Or just misdirect. You're basically doing a misdirection?
Yeah.
DM would quick help me get that, unfasten that collar. Get in position to unfasten the collar.
I would say that if you're attempting to take the collar off, that you could use your quick to make the DC harder. I will say that if you're trying to interact with the collar, it is a DC 6, and I am using effort tokens for this as well, which for the listeners and for you, effort tokens are essentially almost like HP, a pool that you have to whittle away with successes before you can actually complete the task. It's a way to try to get you guys to cooperate a little bit more.
Okay. So we can all do things to try to help with this.
Yep, absolutely.
I have a way that I can help. If you're nimble and able to unfasten the collar, I can be a distraction. I have a friend that I could ask for some help for distracting the swamp Black Lagoon creature. And Marty, what would you do?
Well, here, you do your thing first, and then I'll do my thing, and then maybe Colette, you try to swoop in and grab the collar.
Sounds like a plan.
I make a cool K-pop dance move that ends with me pointing towards the sky. And I draw a line across the sky, and the firmament opens, and a lightning bird comes out. And lightning bird, like Zapdos, crackles with electricity and is very bright and distracting and fast and agile and is going to fly around the head of the swamp monster.
Okay.
So that's a ranged attack?
Yeah, I'll say that's a ranged attack. So you can roll Agile, which is 3d6. And if you want, you can even spend a Karma if you'd like. It's a DC 6 to hit. You could make it a DC 5 instead by using your Karma because you are using your Lightning Bird.
I think I can wait until after I roll to spend Karma or not, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a 2, a 3, and a 4. So I'm not going to spend that Karma because even reducing it down to 5 wouldn't help. As my bird fails by getting caught.
Yeah, like caught in the muck kind of, or water even. You
by
see
the monster.
Yeah, or caught by the monster. Yeah, absolutely. I'll say that the swamp monster there reaches up and grabs a hold of your lightning bird, but your two friends are able to swoop in. I think.
Yeah. So it's holding an electrified bird in the water right now, correct?
Does it sound too safe?
It sounds like a hazard, yes.
Okay. So I am going to use my water manipulation spell. And I'm wondering, is magic always inherently the clever ability? Or like, what if you have like, I'm going to describe this and you tell me what ability this should be.
I love it.
So I am going to use the water to gather up into two big like mallets of water and then bring them crashing together to make a concussion force right on this monster's head, drenching him with an electrified burn in his hand.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds like a great plan, actually. I will allow you then, because you are brawny, to say that is a brawny attack, because you're kind of coming down with force with the water, and you're just using your supernatural ability to kind of assert your force on this thing. So I'll allow 3d6. It's still a d6, DC 6, but you can use, if you'd like, a karma to reduce it.
Isn't that 4d6?
It's max 3. You start at 2, and if you're using your trait or your trait, then it's a 3.
Oh, it's either or. You can't use both. You can't use brawny and magical.
There are 3 traits. There's agile, which is used for reflex and stealth and ranged combat, brawny, which covers strength and melee combat, and crafty, which covers smarts and charms. So there's only 3. So you just
so we're using brawny, but there are also perks, and one of my perks is magical, which is what I've been using to get 3 dice so far.
The mechanics of the game is that the perks adjust the difficulty, the traits adjust the number of dice.
So the perks would lower the DC from a 6 to a 5.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I would have 3 die.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. That seems doable. Let's see. 4, 6, 3.
All right. You only need 1 success in this game to succeed. So I will say that you essentially stun this thing. So exactly what you say happens. These 2 mallets of water come down, and with the assistance of the electrified bird from Sadie, this thing is kind of stunned in place. But the collar is still around its neck. But Colette, you're still up.
Yeah, Colette, go ahead and touch this lightning pole, basically.
Yeah.
Sort of like a telephone pole with a loose wire. What are you?
This sounds particularly dangerous. So she's gonna do it because she's gutsy. So okay, so I feel like this would fall under crafty, correct? Or no, this would probably fall under agile.
Agile would be more like sleight of hand style stuff, like trying to snatch something or stealth, stuff like that. So I would say it's more of an agile role.
Okay, fair enough. So what would the difficulty be?
So it's a DC 6 still. You can, if you have a way that you can use your perk to reduce it by spending one of your karma, you can do so to a DC 5, but it'll only be 2d6 rolled.
Okay, so she will spend a karma, so she'll be at 2. And she has quick. I don't know if that will really apply because she's trying to get in there to get to the latch.
Yeah, like I'll say that you're trying to get in there fast enough that you're like, there's that lock-on effect with electricity, right? So this thing is electrified. So I'll say you're trying to unclasp this thing quick enough that you're not essentially just going to get like attached to this
buzz.
Thing.
Yeah. Okay, so it's going to be, if I spend the karma, so it'll be 2d6 with a difficulty of 5?
Yes.
Okay, survey says 5 and 3.
All right. You are able to unclasp this thing, and as you do, the muck monsters that it summoned with it, you see turn back into mud and go back into the ground, and his persona kind of shifts and amalgamates back into the form of Old Man Jeffries.
Oh, wow.
What? Oh, I thought it was the elf. I thought it was Artemis Copperpenny. I'm glad I didn't suggest Colette make out with it. We fed you, jerk.
No, it wasn't me. Everybody thinks it's the creepy old man, but listen.
It is literally you right now.
No, it was the collar. The collar made me do it. It was like my brain was almost reptilian. I only saw you as food. I have to be honest. I had plans to eat those children, but if it wasn't for you meddling kids. But nevertheless, this collar, it drove me mad. This man, he snuck into my cabin. And before I could reach for my gun, he clasped this collar on me. And if it wasn't for you, I fear I would have done the worst to these kids.
What's the status of the muck creatures? They like melted away?
Yeah. They turned back into mud, basically. They dropped back down. It seemed like he might have had a cool mud bending power that would have been seen.
Mud bending.
What did the person who put the collar on you look like?
He was dressed in a similar outfit to you folks, but he was wearing a vest, and he had a name tag on it. It started with an A, I think.
Artemis.
Gotta find him.
Any ideas where he might be? Colette asks Marty.
What do we know about him?
He's a dork. Wears a vest. He
He's
writes
an
a
elf.
lot. He's always at the theater.
Check the theater. Doesn't he also like sleep separate from everyone else?
No, he sleeps with everybody else. Colette saw him missing from his bunk. She was checking, in case he needed cuddles. But I think that the theater might be the place where maybe he's storing collars or children parts or plans or always writing.
Something. Yeah, he's always seen us writing something. Who knows what he's doing over there?
Maybe this is like a Death Note kind of thing.
The writing is the villain. Wait,
Let's
no.
go check it out.
One's own humanity is one's own villain. What is the point of Death Note again? Don't kill people just because you can.
Oh,
Anyway,
come on.
let's go to the theater. To the theater. Also, Marty, you're still carrying Marcy.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm assuming you put her down when you did your hammer water thing.
Yeah. I'm not that good.
On your way to the theater, Marcy turns to you, Sadie. She's like, so you were saying you could tell me how to make cheese?
Another time, honey. I was 50-50 on giving you the cheese recipe, but I really want to do it with you because you learn better by doing.
I'm a hands-on learner.
If we survive this, then tomorrow I'll show you.
My sister was wrong about you. You're brave and strong, and you know how to make cheese.
All of those things, though, no comment. But yeah, all of those things out of character. All of those things are not true about the original Sadie. But yes, continuing to the theater.
She can't make beer or cheese?
She can't. No.
Okay.
Kids these days, they need more skills.
Yeah.
Like beer and cheese crafting.
Gosh, you can't even make cheese. What the heck? How are you at thatching a roof?
What are they teaching them these days?
I know. To the theater.
You guys make it to the theater. It's this old, concrete poured slab surface that's raised a couple feet up off the ground with rows of seating, like wood seating set out in front of it. There's a raised part to the back of the stage where there's some curtains that draw across that you'd imagine, where the people go before as they're getting changed and stuff like that in between scenes. But for the most part, it's fairly empty here. The curtains are currently drawn, so it's an empty stage with just the curtains hanging along the back.
I mean, we have to look behind the curtains.
All right. You drape those curtains across, and as you do, Marty, give me a crafty check, DC 5. And it would be 2d6.
4, 6.
You look up and you see 2 beady eyes hanging above you of this creature that seems to be clinging to the fabric of the back of the curtains, chewing on the fabric. It's all jet black. And so all you can see are these reflective, bulbous eyes that have like hundreds of intersections of like different reflecting panels that you can almost see your face in.
It's okay. I already knew a long time ago it was Mothman. Yep. But we got the compound eyes, yes.
I was looking for the word and I ended up with the description. The wings stretch out from it and it lands on the ground, and it's wearing this dorky vest that says Artemis on it.
Whoa. That's new. Hey, Artemis, what happened to you?
He opens his mouth, the Mothman, and to all of your surprise, he can actually speak. And he goes, I've transformed into this thing. I can't let you leave with that tech.
What did you do with the children? What did you do with the children and the counselors? Colette demands.
Oh, just a little bit of product testing.
We love an entrepreneur. Yeah. What's the product?
I'm selling Colette to you today for 50% shares at one. No, he goes, it's a collar. They call it the collar of change. And it's developed by Plasitech. I normally wouldn't be telling you this, but I don't think you'll be around long enough to get out of here.
Oh, Sadie, you called it. It was the tech company doing actively evil things. Okay.
Is it?
Sounds like it. They made a collar that transforms people into monsters.
Yeah, well, I mean...
And enslaves them.
And they're testing it on children.
Well, Artemis Copperpenny is, but, like, if a company makes, like, pool cleaning chemicals and then, like, one employee steals the chlorine to murder the town with, like, not the company's fault.
That's true. We could be lying.
Yeah, I could totally represent this company in court. Well, he just could be, like, as you said, entrepreneurial and not company-backed. Anyway, back into the in-character speech.
Colette just says, you're sick. What is the matter with you?
Nothing's the matter with me. I'm just trying to benefit my career. You see, Edward sent me here himself. He wanted me to use this place as a test bed. Him and Mary have been developing this for quite some time. And, they thought this would be a great example to set. And who else to view their great triumph than the very person who's going around spouting all of these lies about a little theft that happened years ago.
First off, I don't even know those people, and I definitely didn't steal from them. And also, she starts getting mad. Just shut up, she says. She doesn't have a weapon. I don't think. He says, Marty, kill this thing. She's ratcheting it up right now.
Wow, so, you are not a woman, like a woman scorned, right? Like you're not a good ex-girlfriend.
We could, or just hear me out. Marty holds up a hand to cast solar beam just up in the air, maybe out a window. Just a nice beam of light, just to see if the moth is drawn towards it. I don't know.
Oh my That's God. Not a bad idea.
Oh my God.
That's actually a pretty good idea.
Help it.
Because I love it so much, I'm going to say, roll me a DC 5 with 2d6.
We're gonna roll a karma just to make that a 4, just because I want to see this work.
All right.
There's a 4.
Yes.
And a 3.
You see mid speech he looks and he goes zzz, zzz, and you see uncontrollably he starts to shake, and then like a bat out of hell he dashes out of the window, crashing through the glass, and takes off after the light.
Well, that was fun. All right. So, Sadie, you're saying he's not the main big bad? Like, who we gotta kill? What's going on?
It sounded like Colette knew them.
I vaguely have heard of them. I certainly don't know anything directly about them. But there are two people, a married couple, that are very wealthy and have heard malicious rumors about me and are trying to get me here to get revenge on this thing that certainly didn't happen with me. I mean, you got all that, right?
Kind of.
Long story short, Duchess Mary and Duke Edward, they are not my biggest fans, and they are conducting all kinds of things here that we really need to stop, regardless of what may or may not have happened between me and them in the past.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so where do we find them?
Good question. We may not be able to find them, but we can at least disrupt their plans here.
Yeah. We have a collar.
Mm-hmm.
We have 2 collars.
Oh, why don't you just give one of those to me?
Okay.
Oh, wait, do I still have one? Do I still
Yeah,
have the
you
one
have-
I took off of the old man?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I kind of wish you hadn't got that light.
You were going to put a collar on that ex-crush of yours.
One.
You were going to turn them ugly into muck.
No. I
Or
just
floating
need
blue
him to
lights.
do a few things for me. Then I'll be happy to let him go. Is the light still going on? That guy's way out of here, huh?
He is he's buzzing up in the air. He's way off in the distance here. It would take something to bring him back over. You can see he's very distracted by this ray of sunlight.
I mean, I can move it if you really want him. I was just trying to give us a peaceful solution out of that.
What other solutions do we have?
Whatever you want. If you want to kill him, you can. If you want to put the collar on him, you can. I can just point this beam right back down at the ground, but you tell me. What do you want?
Well, at first I was thinking we should go get some guns from the old man's house and then, bring it down. But this is a way to get back to Edward and to get back at Edward and Mary. Yeah, let's bring him down, preferably somewhere. Oh, here's an idea. Let's have that beam go to somewhere where he'll get stuck once he lands.
To the taffy pit.
Yeah, okay.
Could Sadie come up with a trap? Being a counselor who does all sorts of outdoorsy thing, a cheese or something, maybe with curds or whatever you use to make cheese, to something sticky. Whip that up real quick.
Yeah, really, really stringy cheese. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gum up his wings.
I don't even know how to make cheese or beer.
I would have showed you. I had it all
She
prepared.
doesn't. I mean, she doesn't have either too many calories, but Colette doesn't. But is there something? Can we set up some kind of sticky trap or some way to maybe lasso it? Maybe just like throw a lasso as soon as it hits the ground.
I mean, I could burn his wings off if you want.
I like the sticky trap idea. So
Okay.
in the kitchen earlier, I saw a lot of honey, and moths love fast energy. Who doesn't? When you fly like that, you burn a lot of calories. So, oh wait, my character doesn't know about calories. So anyway, but that's why she's eating so much. Moths love sugar. Let's go to the kitchen and we'll get the industrial-sized 50-gallon container of honey. These kids, they go through so much honey.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
apparently.
Yeah, and everything.
Yeah, the mayonnaise container is larger than your head. Yeah.
So would it take too much time for us to do all this, DM?
I'll say as long as Marty's concentrating on this solar beam, then yeah, you have all the time in the world to get this trap set up.
I'm hoping no one else in the camp is panicking. They all just miss this. They're all just sleeping this off. They're going right through it.
Speaking of which, I guess Oliver would come out and see Marty casting this brilliant spell of light, and Oliver looks out at you, Marty, and goes, "Wow, man, you're brilliant, man. Just absolutely brilliant."
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a comeback for that one.
Not as brilliant as your teammates who are coming up with a very cool trap plan.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll go with that.
we're on the same level of brilliant.
I mean, you're supposed to route comments back to, like, you say something like, well, the brilliance of that smile just keeps this going.
Yeah.
Gotta bounce it back to them when they give you a compliment.
And that was poetic. So yeah, you guys have all the time in the world to craft this trap of yours. So remind me again. So we're grabbing sugar out of the dining hall to attract him, and then how are you capturing, or are you capturing?
Do we just throw the honey on him? No, that's a little... Yeah, why not?
Yeah. I mean, I'm realizing I don't know what moths eat. So
Don't they eat paper?
Paper and fabric.
is that
And
is that their
fabric,
like
yeah.
natural food?
Yeah, honestly, I think they eat just about anything, to be honest.
Okay. I don't know. Like a big old honey spill on the front porch is a good starting place, and then we could like I don't know.
This, you know
Lasso
what?
sounded good too.
This moth loves honey. and it just so happens that this year's play involves cowboys, and they have lassos at the stage. Like, how do these things happen? I don't know. But nevertheless,
What are the
you're able to
odds?
set your trap. And I will say that for Sadie, it is a crafty check, DC 5. So it's 2d6. If you have anything you can do to spend a karma to reduce that, you can do so.
Ooh, am I the one constructing this? I'm not at all crafty. I would reach out to my team members and just like look at you and be like,
I'll handle it. I've been known to do a trap here and there. So she's going to do her crafty.
3d6 for you then. And
Quite
that'll
literally
offer the
crafty.
Same thing.
And the difficulty?
It's a DC 5.
5. Okay. Oh, she missed it.
All right.
I think that's our first failed roll of the night.
You miss with that. I'll say that the way that failures work in this is that you would lose a resolve. So
Okay.
I will say that you get yourself with the honey, and and you're all gummed up. But that still leaves Sadie, I believe, with this lasso, and there's still an opportunity as you are currently covered in honey. And it might not be attracted to the honey on the ground, but it's certainly attracted to the honey on you. And so it nevertheless, unintentional consequences is still coming towards you. So Sadie, I'll say it's up to you what you'd like to do here.
Colette, can you accept them back? They're a lot uglier than they were before. I know elves are the prettiest. Don't blame me there. But, surely you can find it in your heart to forgive them. Give them a hug.
Colette will do just that.
All right. Since it's Colette taking the action, I'll ask Colette for the roll then.
Okay.
Roll to hug.
Roll to
Roll
hug.
to hug.
It's 2d6 DC 5. It's a brawny check. So
It's
I'll
a
say
brawny check. But
You got to give
could
them a brawny hug.
Could quick work?
I would allow you to quickly give them a brawny hug.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So does that reduce the difficulty?
Down to 4, yeah.
Okay. So it's 2d6 trying to get a 4, a 2 and a 5.
A 2 and a 5 does it. You are holding strong onto this Mothman.
This is almost as bad as the last first date I had.
You're ruining everything. Just give me the tech and you can be on your way.
No problem. She'll snap the collar on his neck.
Or was he already wearing one?
He was.
Oh,
You go to snap the collar
there
on
goes
his neck.
that idea.
And
Oh
as
no, we
you-
get to see what happens when you get two.
As you go to snap the collar on his neck, he begins to shift. You see he's the Mothman for a second, and then he changes like into another creature, and he's almost like shifting like a bad animation, like between different forms. And you see both of them pop off his neck at the same time, and he's left looking like this weird amalgamation of multiple different beings, essentially.
We the flied him.
You see he's having trouble moving, and he looks up and goes, "What have you done?"
Look, you're the one killing kids. Next time, don't try and kill kids. Colette does not look too sympathetic, though she's a little grossed out.
His new form, you see his vest doesn't quite fit right, and out of one of his pockets falls his journal book.
Yoink. Colette will snatch it up.
All right, do you read through it in front of him?
Yeah, why not? He can't really do anything about it.
It starts, Dear Diary. Today, no.
We'll skip to the juicy part.
You see it details at the beginning. It is somewhat of a bit of a journal. It details that he actually works for Plasitech. He is a research and developer, and he's been sent on a mission by Plasitech to essentially create a test bed for their new product. They're hoping to create like an interactive amusement park with monsters, and instead of using like animatronics, it seems like they're trying to use these monsters instead, these amalgamations. And it's obviously run by Edward Tech and Mary from, I think it's Mary Placentia?
Sorry, Mary Placenta?
Placentia.
As opposed to Sad Placenta.
But nevertheless, the Duke and Duchess are clearly the owners of Plasitech. It's an amalgamation of the two of them, and they're separate companies that the two of their families owned. It seems like their wedding was more of a merger than a wedding. And it talks about how it's been going on for about a month or so, that he's been ramping things up and doing more and more experiments. And it's actually got detailed journals and logs of each of the different like experiments and children, counselors, things like that have gone missing. It also mentions how he is using beneath the stage as a testing bed, essentially. There's a trap door, it seems, somewhere nearby, and he's been holding up underneath the stage, and seems to be where he's keeping most of the tech and things like that. He's got all of this kindly neatly bound in this journal. It seems like he's been keeping this almost as like a gotcha against the company in the event things were to go awry.
Well, as they say on Gotcha, that's a gotcha. She is going to pocket that book. I mean, I'm assuming it's pretty small, that she could put it in her pocket.
Yeah, it's about
Sure.
like a 6x4 little pocket journal.
Well, mystery solved. Were all those people dead? Are all those people dead or transformed at this point?
The people that
we
were
can know of?
The people that were transformed are seemingly temporarily transformed. Once the collars are removed, they can return to normal. It seems as though some of them may have escaped camp altogether, and hey, you may run into them in the future. But there is detailed in a journal a small section underneath the stage as well that has a few more things.
Oh,
Yes.
Continue.
Yeah, you open up the trap door, and as you peer inside, you see crates of Plasitech equipment. You see more collars, and on top of that, you see several children, as well as the chef, who is down here. It seems like they are being prepped to have collars put on them. It seems as though he's been kind of slowly keeping them and releasing them.
Ooh. Well, let's free them all. Are they being bound or are they unconscious?
They are unconscious and bound. You see they're kind of laying on gurneys with shackles on their hands, and most of them are unconscious.
okay. How do we wake them up?
Gently untie them and call for help. Wake all the other counselors and Angela Burrows, director of the camp. Yeah, I mean, maybe we don't wake her. She might be in on it.
Yeah,
Maybe we
isn't she
can keep
from?
her-
Wasn't she sent by Plasitech?
She owned it before they bought it, I think.
Yeah, because they kept everything the same.
So we should at least wake up the other counselors. I don't know about the kids. And then, like, point them to...
Maybe not the kids. I'm not sure they're going to help.
No, they're not going to help. That would be hard. So yeah, in middle of the night, wake up. Hey, good morning, counselors. It is 1 a.m. and we have some things for you to see.
You see a lot of
feel
grumpy
like-
faces.
I feel like even for Nikamoy, this is quite a unique circumstance to wake up to.
Shelley, Oliver, hey, come with me into the woods.
Ignore
to the
the
stage.
amalgamation guy writhing in pain.
All right, new people
Yeah.
we've just met yesterday, barely today. We will follow you into the woods. They come trotting along behind you.
Oh, points to theater, human storage location. Points to. Look, he's wearing the vest still.
It's true. He never took it off.
And Colette has the diary.
Yeah.
Shelley looks over at Oliver. Wow, the Mothman was real. I can still see, I think his eyes are still like, oh, they're all weird. And you can see she pokes it with a stick. And she goes, so you're telling me all of this was Artemis?
He wasn't quite what he said he was.
Well, it's a good thing that you guys showed up then. Glad that he's taken care of. What about all these collars and everything?
Oh, we'll hang on to those.
Will you?
We're from we can tell you now, we are from a certain guild, and not to get too into details, but we'll take care of this. You won't ever have to worry about any of this ever happening again.
Hey, Colette, how will we take care of this?
By taking the collars away.
Right, but like they can make more.
Well, they won't do it here. Probably. She says to Sadie, just go with me on this, okay?
Right. Right. Yeah.
But we will take those. We'll take these off of your hands, and congratulations on getting all your missing people back.
Did you find the cook?
Yeah, the cook was there.
Oh, thank the
He
gods.
was there, right? Yeah. Yeah, now you can have good food, and you don't have to answer any pesky questions from parents like, "Where's my child?"
Well,
you know where they are now.
It's a good thing that you guys showed up, and I suppose now that you have some form of evidence, perhaps if you were to ever meet them again, you can hold them accountable for what they've done.
That is the plan.
Should we get like journalists in here or something? Like, without law enforcement, how does one fix a problem like this? Like, should we you know what we should do is we should get some kind of like journalist in here to write a story about it. Wouldn't this make a fascinating front page cover?
This would make a fascinating story.
Well, maybe you should be a journalist.
You know, there is a local journalist in town. We could call him over and get at least get a statement from the lot of you. Perhaps if you're willing to share the information, I agree. It would make quite the statement.
And all of us testify to what we saw, and the journal gets published, and the kids are like, yeah, it was balls of light. And the old man is like, I could command mud.
But what happens to Edward and Mary? Oh, they're rich and famous, and they'll get away with it.
Ooh, we buy some stocks, then we write the story. No, I'm just kidding.
And you short sell them. We got a whole plan going on here.
Short the stocks, yeah.
You guys are able to give your statement to the reporter with the rest of the kids, and they take that information and the information in the journal, and they do in fact go at the Placitech company. Placitech is prologue basically from this. They are forced to essentially go bankrupt. They're forced to sell the subsidiaries of their companies for the time being, but those pesky rich people, they always seem to squeak by any real recommence. And you see in the news, they are off scot-free. They are able to keep at least a portion of their wealth, and they are still around and probably not very happy with you, Colette. But going back before the prologue, before you guys are able to leave the camp and everything, Oliver comes up to the group of you. You know...
Woo, Oliver!
You were one hell of a man last night, Marty. I've been looking for a place to call home, and I want to help people, and I don't know, saving kids falling off platforms, it's not really my cup of tea anymore after seeing what you guys do. Do you have any recommendations somewhere I could go?
Well, there's always room at Fire Breathing Kittens, but I'm afraid all that's left is a bottom bunk.
No.
I was always more of a bottom anyways.
Aw, he knows the reference.
All right. And unless anybody has any loose ends, everybody is able to make it back to Fire... Oh.
One loose end. Were we able to take back those collars back to the Fire Breathing Kittens Guild Hall?
Yes. If you'd like to take one or two of the collars back with you, I would say you're absolutely able to bring one of those back.
Yeah. I mean, how do we feel about leaving this camp here, given what just happened?
Well, if I were... I don't think anyone's going to come back to that camp anytime soon. But the kids are okay. That's the important thing.
Yeah. I mean, we could destroy it.
Destroy what? We took all their money.
The camp, the area. We could burn the buildings down.
Oh, here. Okay. All right. Here, alternate idea. We could burn it down. Totally valid. Other thing, we could turn it into like an X-Men Academy summer camp. So we'll like train kids to be future fire-breathing kittens.
Do we own it?
Wow. No.
Arson is very different from seizing.
Oh my gosh. Why do you want to burn it down? It was a shrug.
Yeah.
I would say if anyone owns it, probably the banks.
It's a good idea. I think we both had pretty solid points, but
if only Sadie was still here, Sadie would probably be able to snatch that property up like no one's business.
Oh, yeah. The original was really good at business and stocks and property purchases. Darn.
Man. Oh, well.
Stuck with Anne. Yeah. Anne can make cheese.
Okay, well, it was an idea. I didn't know if we wanted to leave this place full of monsters and whatnot. Yeah, I don't know if there's any left. Mm.
But they weren't monsters. They were collars.
They were all being spawned by the collars. We took them all.
Sometimes I feel like the end result is worth more than the journey.
He wants to burn stuff down.
Let's put it this way: if Marty burns it down, Colette will definitely look the other way.
Oh yeah. Well, so before we burn it down, the day after, right? The day after all this stuff, Marcy and Sadie are in the kitchen together, and Sadie heats the milk to 50 degrees Celsius. She has Marcy add 6 tablespoons, one at a time, of 9% vinegar to the milk. The curds and the whey separate, and the whey gets kind of yellowy and clear, and the curds look kind of like cheese. And Sadie has Marcy knead it together and squeeze, and then brings the whey up to 70 degrees Celsius and adds 1 tablespoon of salt. You put that ball back in and knead it a bit more, and it's fresh mozzarella, which Sadie tells Marcy to give to Portia as a present in a sandwich.
Yes, hidden in a sandwich.
The best cheese.
Sadie, I don't know how to tell you this, but from the bottom of my heart, she is going to love this. The biggest grin, like that little kid grin, like I'm up to no good, goes across her face, and you see she like pockets a bunch of the fresh mozzarella and goes, and I'm not going to forget the recipe for the future either.
Good.
It's so easy. 2 ingredients, cheese. Yeah.
Does Marty have an epilogue? Because I just thought of an epilogue for Colette.
He burns the camp down.
Okay, you're not going into details. You just
I can. I just haven't gotten a chance to use solar flare, my big powerful move. So I'm just gonna walk around, and the sky erupts plumes of lava looking stuff and just engulfs each building as we go. So there's nothing left of this place.
And then like gives a thumbs up to Old Man Jeffries across the lake.
Yeah.
And is like, thumbs.
Rest of it's yours.
Yeah.
I think in a previous episode we discussed if there's social media.
Sure. Yeah.
Colette is going to get a very expensive slice of cake with some of her earnings. Take a selfie with it and tag it #Placitech bankruptcy.
Oh my gosh.
That'll be her epilogue.
Oh, I'm sure that cake's not tasting very sweet on the other end. All right. And with that, I think we can put a bookend to our summer camp Slayers adventures. It's very fun. This again was Summer Camp Slayers and TriCube Games. And we were joined today by Colette DeWinter.
Nothing tastes better than revenge, especially if it's a cake.
Sadie Duca.
I forgot to show the kids how to make beer.
Drads. And Marty Flame.
Oliver's cake might taste better.
Oh. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
It's that part of the show where we tell you about a podcast you might enjoy. Have you heard of Everyday Conversations on Race for Everyday People? Everyday Conversations on Race for Everyday People is a cross-race conversation on race. They bring people together across race to share experiences, perspectives, and solutions. It's educational, insightful, and often humorous. No issue is too personal. People get real about their lives. Their mission is to disrupt the way people talk about race, stop hate, eliminate fear of differences, and spread love across the globe. Check out Everyday Conversations on Race for Everyday People, a podcast.